At my birthday party, my boyfriend held up a cake he made himself and said to me, "Make 3 wishes, I'll do everything in my power to make them come true." Just as I was about to close my eyes, I saw a few bullet comments flash by. "This freeloader has already bound a wealth-sharing system with your nemesis, Lu Weiwei. For every wish you make, Lu Weiwei gets to enjoy double the benefits." He urged me, "Baby, what did you wish for?" I smiled sweetly. "My first wish is for $1 billion. My boyfriend was ecstatic and urged me to make the second wish. "I wish for the health and happiness of everyone who loves me." The barrage of comments screamed, "He's using your luck to prolong Lu Weiwei's life. Her mother's cancer suddenly improved." I caressed my boyfriend's ecstatic face and uttered the third wish. "Now, reduce my previous wishes by 51%. The scumbag and the bitch were dumbfounded. 1. The 20th birthday banquet of the Shen family's only daughter was held with unparalleled grandeur. Gu Qingyan was wearing the custom-made suit I gave him, the fabric crisp and well-structured, accentuating his straight shoulder line. I know I can't give you the best, but this tie was the first gift you ever gave me." He looked up, his eyes frighteningly bright. "Gu Qingyan swears upon it today. Make 3 wishes, no matter what they are, no matter how difficult. I'll stake my life to make them come true for you." I felt a surge of emotion, a sudden warmth rising uncontrollably to my eyes. Just as I was about to close my eyes to make a wish, a few lines of bullet comments suddenly floated across my vision. "Your man signed a contract with Lu Weiwei. Gu Qingyan checked into a hotel with Lu Weiwei last week. I even have the video. This asshole is treating you like a wishing turtle in a pond, using you to feed his true love. Every wish you make, half of your luck is transferred to Lu Ruxu, and the effect of the wish is also absorbed by her twice as much. Lu Weiwei, system, double." My face instantly turned deathly pale. Lu Weiwei, isn't she Gu Qingyan's cousin? Gu Qingyan and her checking into a hotel together. A chill shot up from the base of her spine to the crown of her head. The tenderness in Gu Qingyan's gaze was almost overflowing, yet deep within his eyes lurked a trace of anxiety and anticipation. He was waiting for my wish, waiting for my offering. "Baby, what did you wish for?" he urged softly. I looked at him and slowly smiled. "The first wish." The entire room held its breath. "I want 1 billion. How much?" 1 billion. A lavishly dressed lady covered her mouth, her eyes wide with astonishment. "Oh my God, Miss Shen, isn't this just making things difficult for people?" Her companion chimed in. "Everyone knows Mr. Gu's family situation. 10 billion, this is practically, TSK, I told you so. This young lady from the Shen family has such high standards, how could she possibly take a fancy to some poor boy like him? Good relationship. If the relationship were really good, would they come up with such an exorbitant demand? Clearly, it's meant to make people back off." "Exactly. I heard Gu Qingyan once saved Shen Ziyi. Maybe he's trying to cash in on that favor." The Shen family couldn't outright refuse, so they left it to their daughter to handle. See, straight up asking for 1 billion, setting an impossible task. If Gu Qingyan can't deliver, he'll naturally be too ashamed to keep pestering. Miss Shen's move is brilliant, saving face while cutting off trouble. Poor Gu Qingyan, so devoted. Isn't this just public humiliation? You can't put it that way. Miss Shen might have just been pushed to her limit and used this method to make the other party give up, though it's a bit cruel. It's better to have short-term pain than long-term suffering. 1 billion, isn't that pushing someone to their death? The Shen family isn't short on money, why must they go this far? Gu Qingyan's affectionate expression twisted for a moment, leaving only embarrassment and the pallor of humiliation. He looked at me, the expectation in his eyes turning to anger. Following the murmurs around them, he pieced together the fact that I deliberately set an astronomical figure to make things difficult for him, just to shake off the persistence of my savior. This made him a laughingstock in the eyes of others. The scumbag's face turned green with rage. "Ha. Gu Qingyan must be furious now, thinking he is humiliating him." The smile on my face remained unchanged as I tilted my head slightly. "What's wrong, Qingyan? You said you'd do anything to fulfill my wish. Is this one too difficult?" Gu Qingyan shuddered all over, as if stung by my words, but was quickly overwhelmed by the mention of double. He swallowed hard. "No, not difficult. Good, 2, the remaining 2 wishes, no rush. I haven't decided on the other wishes yet, I'll tell you when I've made up my mind." I interrupted him. Gu Qingyan was taken aback, his lips parting as if to say more, but I had already turned away to attend to other customers. All right, take your time, I'll wait." Without overthinking it, his expression brightened with joy. Whether I made a wish or not, He and Lu Weiwei already had 2 billion all evening. While I was entertaining guests, he sat in the corner, grinning and playing with his phone. I guessed he was planning with Lu Weiwei in advance how to spend those 2 billion. That night, I returned to the apartment near the school. The manager of Morning Light Future Investment Fund suddenly sent me a message. MS Shen, the Deep Blue Exploration Phase 1 project you participated in has been acquired by an international giant due to its core patent, and the proceeds were settled at 22:17 tonight. According to your share, the net profit this time is 1,000,000,000,000 yuan. The funds have been transferred to your designated private account, 1 billion. The moment right after I made the 1 billion wish, I turned off my phone screen, and my doubts about the bullet comments vanished at that instant. I just wonder, how will Lu Weiwei's 2 billion be transferred? The next day was Monday, and I had an early class. A few classmates huddled together, whispering about something. When we arrived at the economics department building, almost everyone was murmuring to each other, their words filled with envy and resentment. Did you hear, Lu Weiwei, that Lu Weiwei who gets the financial aid? Oh my god, is this for real? 2 billion, the lottery, this is just too surreal. Absolutely true. Rumor has it she checked the numbers multiple times last night and didn't even come to class today. Didn't she always say her family was struggling? How did she suddenly have spare money to buy lottery tickets and win such a huge jackpot? Who knows? TSK, talk about a rags to riches story. What incredible luck. I walked expressionlessly down the hallway toward the classroom, as expected. Lu Weiwei's seat was empty. Halfway through the class, the back door of the classroom was pushed open. Lu Weiwei walked in wearing a brand new luxury designer dress, her brows and eyes brimmed with joy, her entire being radiating an irrepressible, soaring spirit. In her hand, she carried the latest limited edition canvas tote from a luxury brand, its price tag far from modest. She walked straight to my row and took the empty seat beside me. Zijia, I gave a noncommittal she didn't seem to mind my indifference. Yesterday was your birthday, and I couldn't make it to the party. I really regret that. Originally, I wanted to use the money I saved from my part-time job to buy you a gift. She paused, her tone sincere and even carrying a hint of relieved trepidation. But then I thought, Sister Ziyi, you have everything. Anything I could afford would probably seem shabby and unworthy in your eyes. Just as I passed by the lottery station, I thought, why not use that money to buy a little hope instead? She raised her teary eyes to look at me, a hint of defiance in her gaze. I never expected, truly never expected, to have such good luck. Sister Ziyi, tell me, is this all thanks to you? If you hadn't excluded me from your birthday celebration, if I hadn't thought of buying you a gift, I definitely wouldn't have bought that lottery ticket. The entire class pricked up their ears, their eyes darting back and forth between the two of us. I closed my book and turned to face her directly. Lu Weiwei was slightly taken aback by my calm gaze. Is that so? Congratulations, then, Lu Weiwei. My tone was indifferent, and Lu Weiwei, failing to detect any envy, grew displeased. I continued, since you're so well off now, there's something we can finally settle. A sense of foreboding flashed through Lu Weiwei's heart. What is it? Arshan Group's Dawn project has records of all the tuition and living expenses we've covered for you from middle school until now. The finance department should have the details. Previously, we considered your actual circumstances and provided the funding free of charge, but now that you've come into this unexpected windfall, surely you don't need this money anymore. We could use these funds to help other students in situations similar to yours. Lu Weiwei's expression darkened, her fingers tightening around the straps of her canvas bag. She never expected me to bring this up in front of the whole class. This was completely different from the triumphant scene she had imagined, where she would hold her head high in front of me. Sister Ziyi, I'll pay back that money, as you should. Thank you for the Shen family's help over all these years. That said, a fleeting look of pain flashed through her eyes. 20 billion is indeed a lot, but having to pull out a sum of money to cover old debts still made her very uncomfortable. Very well. I took out my phone and dialed a number. Assistantly, please compile a detailed list of all the financial support provided to Lu Weiwei, a beneficiary of the Dawn project, from her first year of junior high to the present. This includes tuition, accommodation fees, basic living allowances, and major illness subsidies. Prepare both electronic and hard copies and send them to me as soon as possible. Yes, right now. After hanging up the phone, I looked at Lu Weiwei's pale and flushed face, smiled slightly, and added, oh, by the way, Besides the financial aid from the company's public account, there were also some items. I remember there was the latest model of a phone, a tablet, a few affordable luxury bags you said all your classmates had but you didn't, and several dresses and accessories you needed for events to make an impression. I think we should cash out these items and return them together. Tears welled up in Lu Weiwei's eyes, and her shoulders trembled slightly. Ziyi, those things were clearly gifts from you. You said we were like sisters, and since I didn't have them, you gave them to me. How can these be considered debts? Once something is given, how can you ask for it back? The Shen family is wealthy. Do you really lack this little money? Ziyi, between us, is there nothing left but cold, hard cash? 3. She cried with pear blossoms bathed in rain, instantly stirring sympathy among many onlooking classmates. Exactly. Taking back a gift and demanding cash in return is just too. Shen Ziyi usually seems quite generous. Why is she being so petty with Lu Weiwei? Maybe she's just upset that Lu Weiwei won the prize. Ah, Weiwei is really unlucky. Just when her luck was turning around, she has to face such unreasonable treatment. Isn't 7 million just a drop in the bucket for the Shen family? Why push a classmate who just got a little money so hard? How stingy. Lu Weiwei lowered her head, hiding the smugness in her eyes. Listening to those self-righteous comments, I could only find them absurd and laughable. I let out a soft laugh, and everyone turned to look at me. Lu Weiwei, you're right. Things given away usually shouldn't be asked for back. Lu Weiwei raised her tear-filled eyes, thinking I had conceded, but then I changed my tone. But that's only true if it was genuinely a gift, not something that was half requested, half taken. You and I both know the truth of that matter. Before she could retort, my gaze swept over the classmates who had been gossiping the loudest. As for you, how much is your monthly allowance? 3,000, 5,000, or 10,000? When you're still meticulously budgeting for your own living expenses and tuition, you somehow find the leisure to worry about the two of us whose net worth is in the tens of millions. Should I praise your kindness, or should I advise you to focus more on your final papers and internship offers? The faces of those classmates instantly turned crimson, as if they had been slapped. The surrounding crowd immediately fell silent, lowering their heads to pretend to read or play with their phones. Indeed, what right did they have to dictate to two people with vast fortunes? Lu Weiwei's pitiful expression couldn't hold up any longer, as my earlier words left her both ashamed and angry. I don't lack this small amount of money, and right now, you don't seem to be lacking either, do you? The lucky winner of 2 billion. Lu Weiwei bit her lower lip. Since neither of us is in need, why don't you return the money? I could use it to help more students who were just like you back then. Wouldn't that be better? What do you think? Lu Weiwei's chest heaved violently a few times. In the end, with reluctance and resentment, she said, "Fine, I'll pay it back." "Very well, transfer it to me now." I waved the summary of the data I had just received on my phone screen in front of her eyes. Over 7 million. This amount was indeed just a drop in the bucket for Lu Weiwei now. Lu Weiwei gritted her teeth and transferred the money to me. A total of over 7 million, for, just as I was about to leave, Gu Qing'an suddenly came over. Why is Weiwei crying so hard? What happened? I heard, you asked her to return all the previously sponsored money and gifts in cash. Lu Weiwei quickly clung to Gu Qing'an's arm, her full chest rubbing against his arm. Brother, don't blame sister. What sister said is right. Without looking at Lu Weiwei, I replied directly, yes. That's what happened. What about it? What's wrong? Gu Qing'an was taken aback by my calm tone and raised his voice slightly. How could you do this? When we gave Weiwei that money and those things, wasn't it to help her and wish her well? Now that she's just starting to get back on her feet, you publicly humiliated her like this and demanded repayment. Isn't that too heartless? Gu Qing'an, have you forgotten? The Shen family's financial support for Lu Weiwei was based on a charity project, not an interest-free loan, and certainly not about raising a privileged princess. When she was in need before, providing aid without expecting anything in return was an act of goodwill. Now that she's suddenly come into 2 billion overnight, repaying these basic expenses is her duty. I asked her to return the equivalent in cash so the resources can flow to more suitable places. What's wrong with that? But, those things were gifts from you. Gu Qing'an looked at me with dissatisfaction. Weiwei has always cherished your friendship. Just now, she even said she doesn't blame you and thinks repaying the money is the right thing to do, but by bringing it up in front of the whole class, how humiliated do you think she felt? She's a girl with thin skin, and now she's crying so hard her eyes are swollen. You handled this too directly. You should have talked to her privately. Oh, she said she doesn't blame me. thinks repaying the money is the right thing. That wasn't the attitude she had when she was crying her eyes out. Gu Qingyan glanced at Lu Weiwei, and seeing her evasive gaze, his tone softened. Even if you're in the right, you could have handled it more gently. Look, could you apologize to Weiwei? After all, you embarrassed her in public. If you just show a better attitude, I'll talk to her, and she'll definitely forgive you. Let's not let such a small thing ruin our harmony. Forgive me, I almost burst out laughing. This logic is truly heartwarming. Gu Qingyan, first, I haven't done anything wrong that requires an apology. Second, I don't need Lu Weiwei's forgiveness. If you're calling just to be Lu Weiwei's advocate and criticize how I handle things, then I'm hanging up. Don't be like this, Gu Qingyan said anxiously. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. I still have books to read. I made as if to go. Wait, don't go. Gu Qingyan quickly grabbed hold of me. Don't be angry yet. I didn't mean it that way. I just want what's best for both of you. He paused. Then asked, that, you mentioned before that you hadn't thought of the last 2 wishes yet. Have you thought of them now? 5. Gu Qingyan pricked up his ears, while Lu Weiwei held her breath, forgetting to cry. The system's temptation, the double rewards, these were what they truly cared about. I lowered my eyelids. As for the second wish, I've made up my mind. Gu Qingyan and Lu Weiwei's breathing noticeably grew heavier. My second wish is, may I and all those who truly love me enjoy good health and smooth sailing in all endeavors. As the words fell, Gu Qingyan's face bloomed with wild joy and a greedy light, while Lu Weiwei also forgot her grievances, her eyes bursting with fervent brilliance. Ugh, look at that scumbag's disgusting expression. That bitch Lu isn't even pretending to cry anymore. Her eyes are practically bulging out of her head, healthy and thriving. Of course they're over the moon. Lu Weiwei's mother has severe diabetes with a slew of complications. Her medical bills are a bottomless pit, and the Lu family's savings were drained long ago. They've been scraping by solely on the sympathy money Lu Weiwei guilt trips out of people. And don't even get me started on Gu Qingyan's father. Years ago, his gambling addiction left him drowning in debt. He got his leg broken by loan sharks, and it never healed properly, left him disabled, limping around, unable to do manual labor. Now he's just a burden with a laundry list of health issues. Gu Qingyan's pride can't stand anyone mentioning his old man. Well, isn't this perfect? Lu Weiwei's mother, twice as healthy now. What a medical miracle. Good, that's a wonderful wish. Gu Qingyan's voice trembled with excitement. This is a great wish. Those who truly love you will be well, and I will definitely help you fulfill it. Definitely. His joy was so genuine. As for me, I merely responded with a faint, Then, what about the third wish? Gu Qingyan pressed eagerly. The third one, I haven't thought of yet. I'll let you know when I figure it out. All right, no rush, take your time. Gu Qingyan responded eagerly, his tone cheerful and pleasant. Focus on your studies and remember to rest. Let me know if you need anything at any time. 6. After that, my parents' medical checkup reports were delivered to our home. The family doctor held the thick stack of reports, unable to hide his admiration. Mr. Shen, Mrs. Shen, your physical condition is even better than last year. All indicators are excellent, especially your heart function and metabolic levels. They're practically like those of someone in their early 20s. Mr. Shen's mild fatty liver detected last year has completely disappeared in this imaging. It's truly remarkable. Many young people might not even be in this condition. Mom patted my hand with a smile. It's all because RE gives us peace of mind. Father also showed a relaxed smile. I wore a smile on my face, but in my heart, I knew it was probably brought about by that wish. My parents are people who genuinely love me, and they have benefited from it as well. A few days later, Assistant Lin Wei called. Miss, as per your instructions, the Shen Group's Dawn project has stopped the special medical subsidy for MS, Lu Weiwei's mother since last month. However, upon further investigation, MS Lu's mother's recent follow-up records show that her blood sugar levels have been surprisingly stable, and some of her pre-existing complications have significantly improved. The attending physician mentioned that the patient attributed this to taking a special medication that yielded remarkable results. Special medication? I raised an eyebrow slightly. Do you know what kind of medication it is, or who provided it? MS Lu's mother said it was Dr. Gu Qingyan who helped obtain it. Many patients and their families have been inquiring about this miracle drug from Dr. Gu, and some have even left comments on Lu Weiwei's newly opened social media account, hoping to purchase the special medication. Gu Qingyan, the miracle drug. I understood immediately. Before long, news about lucky girl Lu Weiwei's filial piety moves heaven, miracle drug cures seriously ill mother, began to spread online. Combined with her previous legend of the 2 billion yuan lottery, the hype quickly soared, the biggest lucky charm of 2026, bringing fortune to herself and her family. What incredible luck, winning the jackpot and mom's health improving too, Vivi. Please share your good fortune with us, bring us wealth and health. That Dr. Gu is amazing too, to have found such a medicine. Lu Weiwei took the opportunity to open short video and live streaming accounts, naming them Vivi's Lucky Moments. She no longer pretended to be poor or acted innocent, instead adopting the persona of a low-key wealthy woman plus lucky goddess plus filial daughter. Tips and gifts flooded the screen, with countless comments like rubbing some of that koi luck and praying for wealth and health. Lu Weiwei watched the rolling earnings on the screen, her eyes narrowing into happy crescents, her voice growing even sweeter and gentler. Gu Qingyan also frequently appeared in Lu Weiwei's live streams. When someone in the chat asked about the price of the medicine, Gu Qingyan would take over with a troubled expression. This is really an extremely rare and expensive channel. Weiwei has gone all out to secure it for her mother. We won't disclose the exact price, mainly because it's priceless and hard to come by. The two of them work together seamlessly, stealing the spotlight for a time. 6. Over the weekend, Gu Qingyan organized a gathering, claiming it was to celebrate Weiwei's mother's improved health, and invited me to dinner. The venue was chosen at a high-end private restaurant, with prices that were exorbitantly expensive. When I arrived, Gu Qingyan and Lu Weiwei were already there. Lu Weiwei was dressed in the latest seasonal fashion, with exquisite makeup. Upon seeing me, she immediately flashed a bright smile and warmly waved. Sister Zi, over here. Gu Qingyan stood up to pull out a chair for me, smiling gently. We were just waiting for you. During the meal, Lu Weiwei enthusiastically shared amusing anecdotes from her live streams and the adoration of her fans. So you see, money is something you really need to have for yourself. Lu Weiwei took a sip of red wine, her cheeks slightly flushed, a hint of pride flashing in her eyes as she glanced at me almost imperceptibly. At critical moments, no matter how rich others are, they wouldn't be willing to buy such expensive, hard-to-get medicine for my mom, right, Qingyan? Gu Qingyan nodded with a smile, his gaze tenderly resting on her. Weiwei has indeed gone above and beyond for your mother. I methodically cut into the steak on my plate and, upon hearing this, offered an approving smile. Classmate Lu Weiwei is right, money truly needs to be your own to spend with confidence and peace of mind, especially when it comes to treating family. Lu Weiwei seemed slightly surprised by my agreement but was clearly pleased. I put down my knife and fork, as if remembering something, and looked at Gu Qingyan. By the way, Qingyan, you have quite the ability to help Weiwei's mom find such a powerful special medicine. So, have you found any medicine that can treat your dad's leg? Uncle's leg must have been quite inconvenient all these years. Right. The gentle smile on Gu Qingyan's face froze instantly, a trace of gloom swiftly flashed through his eyes. Lu Weiwei's smile also faded slightly. Gu Qingyan's father, who had his legs broken and became disabled due to gambling debts, is a source of shame and a scar for Gu Qingyan. More importantly, based on the bullet comments and my observations during this period, Gu Dad's legs showed no improvement after the second wish. What does this imply? The system determined that Father Gu was not among those who truly loved Gu Qingyan. It said that many years ago, when Gu Qingyan's parents were getting divorced, they both fought for custody of him. He chose the father who loved him more, even saying many harsh words to his mother for it. Now, the system tells him his father never loved him at all. What a cruel joke. My father's leg is a different situation. Gu Qingyan forced a smile. It was a fracture that wasn't set properly, leaving permanent organic damage. It's been too long, and even modern medicine can hardly reverse it. It's not like Weiwei's mother's case, which is mainly metabolic and endocrine issues. Oh, I see, that's truly unfortunate. However, my parents and I recently had health checkups, and we're all in exceptionally good health. Even the doctors said our condition is remarkably good. It seems regular maintenance and a positive mindset really make a difference. Lu Weiwei and Gu Qingyan exchanged a glance, their expressions somewhat complicated. Yes, Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen have always been very health conscious, but no one continued the topic of health. The latter half of the meal took on a subtle atmosphere. Although Lu Weiwei still smiled, her smugness had noticeably diminished. Gu Qingyan seemed somewhat distracted. After seeing them off, I received a message from Gu Qingyan. I'm so happy for you to see Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen in such good health. As for the third wish, any thoughts, whatever it is, I'll do everything in my power to make it happen for you. They couldn't wait any longer. I put away my phone without replying. The third wish, it was time to deliver a truly heartwarming gift. 7. With the combined influence of Lu Weiwei's mother and her own lucky koi persona, Lu Weiwei became the undisputed center of attention during her freshman year at University A. During breaks, she was always surrounded by classmates eager to catch some of her good luck or gain some advantage, with laughter and chatter never ceasing around her. One afternoon when there were no classes, Lu Weiwei brought her mother to campus and generously treated everyone to milk tea and coffee. She placed the order right in the classroom using a delivery app, sparking cheers from the crowd. Vivi, is your mom really cured? That's amazing, Sister Vivi. I watched your live stream. The luck was overflowing. Next time you buy lottery tickets, take me with you. Let me rub off some of that luck, Lu Weiwei responded with a bright smile, and upon seeing me enter, she quickly said, Sister Ziyi, would you like to pick a drink too? It's on me today. I smiled slightly and said, all right, thank you then. I walked confidently to her side and chose the most expensive raw coconut latte. My composure took Lu Weiwei by surprise. Her mother, standing beside her, was dressed in brand new clothes, her complexion much rosier than before, but the pettiness and vulgarity in her eyes remained unchanged. Seeing that I had actually placed the order, she let out a cold snort through her nose and spoke in a shrill voice. Oh, so Miss Shen really doesn't hold back. These coffees and milk teas, our Weiwei can afford to treat everyone now, all thanks to her own efforts. Her words carried a hidden meaning as she glanced at me sideways. Unlike some people who supposedly helped us for so many years, when I was lying in bed, half dead, I didn't see any miracle cure being offered. Turns out the illness wasn't untreatable. It just depended on who you were, didn't it? Some just don't want to spend that money on us poor folks. The classroom fell silent instantly, everyone exchanging uneasy glances. The atmosphere was unbearably awkward. Damn this old hag, who was the one almost dying from illness back then, with the Shen family pouring money into medical bills like running water, cured and forgot the pain, a real-life version of The Farmer and the Snake. Her morals are so twisted there in the Pacific Ocean. She's alive thanks to the Shen family's money, yet has the nerve to mock Yi for not buying miracle drugs. Isn't Lu Weiwei stopping her, trying to publicly humiliate Yi? A hint of helplessness appeared on Lu Weiwei's face as she tugged at her mother's sleeve. Mom, don't say that. Sister Ziyi's family helped us a lot in the past. After all, I'm not their biological child, so it's only natural they treat me differently. Her words still confirmed that the Shen family didn't want to spend money on treatment. I watched as the mother and daughter performed their duet. Aunt Lu, you're right. It seems this illness can be cured. While the other party was still basking in their triumph, I continued, however, I recall that a few years ago, when your condition was critical and you were hospitalized, the daily ICU expenses alone were in the 5-figure range. The attending physician at the time said the prognosis wasn't hopeful. It was the Shen Group's Dawn project that specially approved emergency medical funding and arranged for consultations with provincial experts, pulling you back from the brink of death. That sum of money could have bought countless cups of milk, tea or coffee. Mrs. Lu's expression changed abruptly. I didn't give her a chance to retort. As for the expensive medication, Lu Weiwei, how much exactly did that very expensive medicine you bought for your mother cost? Lu Weiwei's eyes darted away nervously, and her fingers curled slightly. What miracle drug could there possibly be? But it was just a lie she and Gu Cheng'an concocted to explain the miracle, more or less, over 30 million. Lu Weiwei forced herself to say, her voice low and indistinct. The surrounding classmates gasped in shock. 30 million, for the vast majority of students, this is simply an astronomical figure. I nodded and said, Lu Weiwei is just one of the many students sponsored by the Shen family. As a sponsor, after covering years of basic education and medical expenses, isn't it reasonable not to pay for a beneficiary's family member's 30 million yuan special medication? The classmates fell silent. Ask yourself this. If they were the Shen family, having already gone above and beyond by supporting Lu Weiwei for so many years and even extending her mother's life, would they really fork over another 30 million to fill a bottomless pit? Financial aid is charity, not an endless obligation. Mrs. Lu flushed red with anger and shrieked, your family is so rich, a single hair from your head is thicker than our waists. What's the harm in spending a little on us poor folks? Are you hoarding it to breed more money? Her words made quite a few classmates frown. I looked toward a boy in the corner wearing a faded, washed-out shirt. He was famously the poorest student in the class, relying on student loans and part-time jobs to support his education. Lee, I remember your financial aid application mentioned that your father is disabled. Your mother suffers from chronic illness, and you have a younger brother. Still in high school, your family is in a very difficult situation, right? Caught off guard by being called on, Lee froze for a moment before nodding honestly. Yes, Shen. I looked at Lu Weiwei, classmate Lu Weiwei. You see, Lee's family is also in a difficult situation, perhaps even more so than your family was before. Now you have 2 billion, even a fraction of that is more than Lee could ever dream of. Why not spend a little on his family? You don't need 3 million, even 300,000 could greatly improve their circumstances and fund his younger brother's college education. You, Mrs. Lu reacted like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Why should our money be spent on others? That's Weiwei's lucky lottery winnings. Oh, I raised an eyebrow slightly. Then why must our Shen family's money be spent on you? Mother Lu was at a loss for words, her face turning the color of liver. Lu Weiwei could no longer maintain her composure either. She tugged at her mother's sleeve and whispered, Mom, let's not say any more, let's just go. She could no longer uphold her calm, lucky koi goddess persona, and the look she gave me was filled with shame and resentment. The mother and daughter hastily left the classroom in disgrace. A few minutes later, the delivery guy brought over a dozen cups of milk, tea and coffee. Just as everyone was awkwardly unsure of what to do, the classroom door was pushed open again. Mother Lu returned, grabbing those exquisitely packaged bags while muttering curses. Drink what? A bunch of ungrateful wretches. Seeing my daughter has money now and trying to cozy up to her, I'd rather throw these away than let you drink them. With her head held high, she slammed the door shut and left once more. The classmates who had been fawning over Lu Weiwei turned red and pale in quick succession. The other students exchanged glances, unsure who first let out a derisive laugh. But soon more began shaking their heads. What kind of person is this? Really something else. It seems having money didn't come with improved manners. Shen Ziyi is absolutely right. Financial aid is an act of kindness, not something owed to them. The old hag is losing it. Ha 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 ha. 8. Gu Qingyan called again, and I could guess what he was going to say without even answering. Sure enough, as soon as the call connected, his angry voice came through. How could you treat Aunt Lu like that? She's a patient after all, and she's getting older. Her words might not be pleasant, but making her and Weiwei lose face in public like that, isn't that a bit too much? Weiwei is really upset. Gu Qingyan, mind your own business, I said, then hung up the phone directly. Gu Qingyan's calls came one after another, and messages kept pouring in. I simply muted them all. Just then, I received a message. Miss Shen, everything has been taken care of. In high spirits, I drove to the hospital where Gu Qingyan was staying, below the VIP inpatient department of City First Hospital. Gu Qingyan's father, Gu Jiangwo, was gripping his son's arm, shouting at the top of his lungs, drawing sidelong glances from many onlookers. You heartless brat, now that you've got money, you don't recognize your own father, is that it? Not a single penny. I raised you for nothing, you unfilial son, beast. Gu Qingyan staggered from the forceful tugging, his face burning with shame and anger as he struggled to break free from his father's grasp. Through gritted teeth, he hissed, let go. I don't have money. Where would I get money to give you? You don't have money. That's a damn lie. Gu Jiangwo raised his voice, his finger almost poking Gu Qingyan in the nose. People have told me, that girl you're involved with, Lu something Wei, won the big lottery. 2 billion, you got a share. Don't think I don't know. If you don't give me 500 million today, I'll lie right here and won't leave. Let everyone judge and see how you, a college graduate, can be such an ungrateful wretch. 500 million. Gu Qingyan's face turned deathly pale, trembling with rage. You, what nonsense are you talking? That was Lu Weiwei's prize. What does it have to do with me? Stop making a scene here. No connection. Gu Jiangwo spat, pulling out an old phone from his pocket. He swiped a few times and actually pulled up a video. It's a video of Gu Qingyan and Lu Weiwei in a private room of a small restaurant. In the video, Lu Weiwei's voice is filled with excitement. Qingyan, it's really here. 2 billion. Gu Qingyan's eyes are bloodshot. That's great. Weiwei, quick, transfer half to my account first. Hurry. Lu Weiwei pouts reluctantly, poking his chest with her finger. Why the rush? Are you afraid I'll run away? Gu Qingyan quickly pulled her into his arms, groping her all over. It's not that I don't trust you, baby. you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. It's safer to split them up. What difference does it make where we keep our money? Only then did Lu Weiwei pout and start operating the transfer. The sound of the transaction confirmation came through the video, and only then did it stop. Gu Jiangwo held up his phone, shouting, see this, 10 billion, you little brats swallowed 10 billion, what's wrong with giving me 5 billion, huh? Gu Qing'an watched the video as if struck by lightning, his face drained of color, his lips trembling. This video, how did it end up in his father's hands? Who was it? You, where did you get this? Where the hell do you think I got it from? Gu Jiangwo spat. Pay up, 500 million, not a penny less. After the initial panic, Gu Qing'an violently shook off Gu Jiangwo's hand, his eyes fierce. Gu Jiangwo, what did you ever do to raise me, besides gambling, drinking, and hitting people? What have you ever given this family? If it weren't for the Shen family's support, I would have dropped out and started working long ago. Whatever I've achieved today has nothing to do with you. Want money? I'll give you 5 million, take it and get the hell out of here, never show your face in front of me again. 5 million, you think I'm some beggar? Gu Jiangwo stomped in anger. 500 million, it has to be 500 million, otherwise, 9. A fierce and insane glint flashed in his eyes. If you don't give it to me, I'll go tell that eldest daughter of the Shen family. I'll tell her that when she got into trouble back then, it wasn't a coincidence that you saved her. It was all a setup between you, me, and your gambling addict uncles. What heroes saving a beauty, pa? It was all just a scheme to extort money from the Shen family long term. These words struck Gu Qing'an like a thunderbolt, nearly shattering his soul. He immediately covered Gu Jiangwo's mouth. Shut up, what nonsense are you spouting? Am I talking nonsense? You know the truth in your heart. Gu Jiangwo struggled. Wasn't it you who provided the information to those people blocking Shen Ziyi? Back then, the time and place, weren't they leaked by you, and the money split afterward? Didn't you take your share? Enough. Gu Qing'an's eyes were wide with fury as he frantically glanced around, only to meet my gaze. I stepped out from the crowd of onlookers, walking step by step until I stood before the father and son. When Gu Qing'an saw me, it was as if he had fallen into an icy abyss, his face turning ashen. Gu Jiangwo was also stunned, clearly not expecting me to appear here. I glanced at Gu Qing'an, whose face had turned ashen, then at Gu Jiangwo, who was avoiding eye contact. I didn't quite catch what was said just now. Can someone explain to me what planned means, and what does to extort the Shen family refer to? Gu Qing'an shook his head violently, stammering, No, don't listen to his nonsense. He's crazy. He'll say anything to get money. Is that so? If you won't tell me, I'll have the police ask you instead. Gu Jiangwo was about to come into money and had no intention of going to jail. Struggling free from Gu Qing'an, he shouted, Miss Shen, that time you were cornered by a bunch of thugs in the alley. It was all staged. Those thugs were my old gambling buddies. It was this little bastard. He paid them to put on a show. Afterward, they took the money and ran. It was only because of this so-called life-saving favor that Gu Qing'an managed to latch onto your Shen family. Otherwise, how could a poor nobody like him ever get engaged to you? How could he receive funding from the Shens? Gu Qing'an collapsed to the ground, too weak to even argue, just staring at me with despair in his eyes. After a moment of silence, I said, I have no proof of what you're claiming. I calmly said, however, charges like suspected conspiracy to commit kidnapping, extortion, and fraud, I believe the police would be very interested in these. I was about to dial, no, don't call the police. Gu Qing'an suddenly lunged forward, trying to grab my phone, but I dodged him by turning aside. He knelt on the ground, tears and snot streaming down his face. I'll tell you everything. It was my dad who owed gambling debts, and we were desperate. I lost my mind, but I never meant to hurt you, really. I just wanted a chance to get close to you. I genuinely fell for you later, please believe me, like, using the system to steal my luck and collude with Lu Weiwei. Is that what you call like, watching his despicable behavior? I felt not a single ripple of emotion in my heart. Write down everything, everyone involved, the time, the place, how it was planned, and how the spoils were divided. Sign and fingerprint it. I put away my phone. Otherwise, I won't hesitate to make this public. Gu Jiangwo wanted to say something more, but after I gave him a cold glance, he shrank his neck. Gu Qing'an lay on the ground like a pile of mud, forced to write everything down truthfully. I took the paper he handed me and then said to him, we're breaking up. Gu Qingyan's eyes were filled with sorrow and deep affection. I know, nothing I say now will make a difference. I was wrong, I was truly wrong, from the very beginning. I don't dare ask for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I agree to break up, everything. It's all my fault. His voice choked with emotion as he raised his head, his eyes bloodshot. One last wish. You said before that you hadn't thought of the third wish yet. He took half a step forward, staring intently at me. Tell me, what is your last wish? Just let it be the last thing I do for you, no matter what it is, no matter how difficult. I swear I'll make it happen for you. Lu Weiwei had appeared at some point not far away. She didn't approach, merely standing at a distance with a complicated look in her eyes. 10. The last wish. Gu Qingyan held his breath, and Lu Weiwei couldn't help but take a few steps forward. My third wish is that all the effects and benefits of my previous wishes be reduced by 51%. Gu Qingyan's smile froze, his pupils contracting as if he hadn't heard correctly, or perhaps he had but couldn't comprehend it. Lu Weiwei's eyes widened, the color draining from her face in an instant, her lips trembling uncontrollably. Reduced by 51% all wishes, effects and benefits, all of them, permanently. Would the 20 billion in Lu Weiwei's account instantly evaporate into 20 billion and 40 million, her mother's condition, which had just improved? Lu Weiwei fainted on the spot. Gu Qingyan seemed as if all his bones had been pulled out. He looked at me, his eyes filled with terror. You already knew, you knew, didn't you? Yes, I've known all along, ever since my first wish. So, are you satisfied? I curled my lips slightly. Gu Qingyan's eyes were wide with fury. Shen Yi, you've ruined me. You'll die a horrible death, even as a ghost. I won't let you off. 11. The next day, Lu Weiwei's mother, the woman who had been cured by the miracle drug, suddenly collapsed in her living room, her blood sugar levels skyrocketing, and complications rapidly resurfacing. She was immediately rushed to the ICU. The doctor, staring at the rapidly deteriorating indicators, frowned deeply, repeatedly exclaiming, "Unbelievable," and "I've never seen someone improve so quickly only to deteriorate this fast." Meanwhile, multiple accounts under the names of Lu Weiwei and Gu Qingyan, including the windfall and subsequent earnings from Lu Weiwei's live streams, were suddenly frozen by banks and regulatory authorities. The freeze notice stated, suspected of involving large amounts of funds from unknown sources, frozen in accordance with the law, cooperate with the investigation. When Lu Weiwei received calls from the hospital and the bank, she was completely stunned. With her mother critically ill and her money frozen, she had no choice but to start a live stream seeking help. Many netizens had kind hearts, sending numerous gifts as tips and even making donations. However, the video of the campus milk tea incident was anonymously posted online with the title, "The True Face of the Koi Fish, Beneficiary Bites the Hand That Feeds, Mother-Daughter Duo Stages Moral Blackmail." In the video, Mrs. Lu's harsh and unreasonable behavior, along with Lu Weiwei's manipulative words, were clearly visible. Public opinion online instantly reversed. Netizens were furious. So it's the ungrateful mother-daughter pair after all. The Shen family supported her for so many years and saved her mother's life. This is how they repay them. Won the lottery and now looks down on their benefactor, even mocks them for not buying the 3 million yuan medicine for her mom. The audacity. This Lu Weiwei is just as greedy and wicked as her mother. Gu Qingyan is no saint either. His hero saving the beauty was all staged. Karma. It's all karma. What goes around comes around. Refund the money, return all the donations. The police did great freezing their dirty money. Lu Weiwei tried to log into her live streaming account to explain, only to find it flooded with comments cursing her and demanding refunds. Her private messages were also filled with all sorts of vile insults and threats. Terrified, she turned off her phone and rushed to the Shen Corporation building, pleading tearfully to see me, only to be stopped by security. "Ziyi, Miss Shen, please save my mom, the hospital is pressing for payment, and all my money is frozen. I beg you, for the sake of our past friendship, help me. I truly know I was wrong." She cried herself hoarse, her makeup smeared across her face, bearing no resemblance to the lucky goddess she once was. I had just left the company when I saw her and stopped in my tracks. Lu Weiwei rushed toward me as if grasping at a lifeline, only to be blocked by the bodyguard. "You just won a 2 billion lottery, how could you be short of money to save your mother?" Lu Weiwei stood frozen in place, as if struck by lightning. I didn't linger any longer and turned to get into the car. In the rearview mirror, Lu Weiwei collapsed onto the cold ground, her figure growing smaller and smaller. Shortly after, the police issued an official announcement confirming an investigation into a case involving massive illegal funds and fraud. The accounts of suspects Lu and Gu had been frozen according to the law, and they urged affected victims to cooperate with the investigation and evidence collection. Though no names were explicitly mentioned, given the earlier online uproar, everyone knew who they were referring to. Lu Weiwei's live streaming account was completely bombarded. "Scammer, give us our money back, go to hell." Her former fans were furious. Lu Weiwei hid in a cheap motel, her phone constantly ringing with debt collection calls and curse-filled messages, when the system in her mind suddenly spoke, detected that the host and bound entity are unable to repay the system's energy. Forced repayment procedure initiated. All available assets have been deducted, insufficient to cover the debt. Initiating final settlement plan. Life energy liquidation. Calculating life energy liquidation rate, 100%. Settlement execution countdown, 10, 9, 8, no, I'll give you all the money, all of it, just don't take my life, please. Lu Weiwei screamed in terror at the empty air, but the countdown continued to slowly decrease. Meanwhile, Gu Qing'an also received the system's notification. Gu Jiangwo, along with those poker buddies who had participated in the Hero Saves the Beauty scam years ago, had heard that Gu Qing'an had made a fortune, but refused to share the money and even got them targeted by the police. They dragged Gu Qing'an to an abandoned warehouse. "You little bastard, hand over the money, you got the cops after me. If you don't cough up $1 billion today, don't even think about leaving." Gu Jiangwo, his eyes bloodshot, roared. "I raised you all these years, and this is how you repay me. Give me the money." Gu Qing'an's face was ashen. Against these thugs, he didn't even have the strength to resist. "I have no money, it's all gone, the system is taking it away," he babbled incoherently. Still lying, a gambling buddy punched him hard in the stomach. Gu Jiangwo also lunged forward, kicking and punching. "I'll beat you to death, you unfilial son, beat you to death." In the chaos, someone pulled out a knife. At almost the same moment, in the ICU of City First Hospital, the monitor for Lu Weiwei's mother flatlined. Inside the hotel, several enraged fans tracked down Lu Weiwei's location, kicked open the door, and amid her terrified screams, a cold glint flashed. In the abandoned warehouse, Gu Qing'an lay in a pool of blood. Gu Jiangwo and his gambling buddies, staring at his lifeless body, snapped out of their rage and realized the gravity of their actions. They tried to flee but were intercepted by the arriving police. In a single day, the clamor came to an end. The police have reported on this series of cases. Lu Weiwei and her daughter, Gu Qing'an and his son, these two families, bound together by greed and deceit, ended their lives in this manner. Good and evil will eventually be repaid, for the wheel of justice turns slowly but surely. Yi remained calm and decisive, advancing step by step. What a brilliant move. The story concludes with cheers. May Yi find happiness from now on. The color of the bullet comments gradually faded until they vanished completely. I handed the confession written by Gu Qing'an, along with all the other evidence, to the officer who came to collect it. "Thank you for your cooperation, Miss Shen," the officer said solemnly as he received it. I nodded and saw him out. "It's over, everything is over, a new day begins." After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My sister-in-law is the family's favorite. When she suffered from kidney failure, my husband didn't hesitate to give her our daughter's kidney. He said, "You can live with just one kidney." Later, when my daughter also developed kidney failure, no one came to her rescue, and his family wasn't even willing to cover the medical expenses. She jumped off a building, and I went mad. My husband was cuddling intimately with my sister-in-law's best friend. During their dinner gathering, I added half a pound of arsenic. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day before I was asked to donate my daughter's kidney. I was strangled to death by my husband, Wang Zimo. He died a gruesome death, his head smashed against the wall, blood splattered across his face, looking exceptionally terrifying. His face was filled with hatred. "Lin Shihan, are you fucking crazy?" I laughed and coughed at the same time, blood continuously trickling from the corner of my mouth. Yuan is dead. We all deserve to die. It hurts, but I'm happy. I can finally go to be with her. My sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and my husband's mistress are all dead. Wang Zimo won't survive either. One life for four. I'm not losing out. When I opened my eyes again, I was washing up in the bathroom, staring at the unfamiliar yet familiar face in the mirror. I was stunned, catching sight of the date on the phone beside me. Tears began to stream uncontrollably down my face. April 11th, 2023, tomorrow, was the day they tricked my daughter into going to the hospital and had one of her kidneys removed. I immediately booked a flight 2 hours later. It was the only one available today, and I absolutely couldn't miss it. I handed over my work to a colleague. It was just a promotion opportunity, nothing compared to my yuan. I didn't even have time to pack my luggage. I just grabbed my ID and phone and rushed to the airport. The moment I sat down on the plane, tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. I silently prayed in my heart, Yuan, wait for me. I closed my eyes and began formulating a plan for revenge in my mind. I will not only rescue my daughter, but I will also not let those people go. As the plane touched down, I breathed a slight sigh of relief. Today is Monday, and Yuan is still at school. I took a taxi directly to the school, determined to pick up my daughter early and take her to a safe place. I tried calling her homeroom teacher, but there was no answer, so I sent a message, Teacher Sue, there's an important family matter. Wang Yuan needs to take a week off. I'm on my way to pick her up now. It wasn't until I was almost at the school that Teacher Sue finally called back. Hello, Wang Yuan's parent. I couldn't answer earlier as I was in class. Your husband already requested leave for her yesterday, so she didn't attend class today. My heart sank. This was trouble. I hadn't expected them to act so quickly. After hanging up, I immediately called my best friend, Hua. It's urgent. Can you check the inpatient list at Boai Hospital? See if there are room numbers for Wang Yuan and Wang Luosha. Boai Hospital was the hospital where they had their kidney transplant in their previous life. Wang Luosha is my sister-in-law, the person I dislike the most. Okay, don't worry, wait for me half an hour. My best friend didn't ask anything. She understands me. I told the driver to head home quickly, closing my eyes. I kept praying. My daughter is at home, waiting for me. When I got off the car, my legs felt weak and unsteady. Stumbling, I opened the door, but there was no one at home. Yuan must have been taken to the hospital by them. I went to the bathroom and washed my face with cold water. Then I went to the bedroom and took all my ID cards, bank cards, and jewelry, including the gold I had given to my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. They don't deserve it. I bought it, so I have the right to take it back. Just as I got in the car, my best friend called. Henin, I'm at Boai Hospital, room 413. I'm on my way there now. Don't worry, I had a friend check, and Yuan is safe now. I softly, in response, take a deep breath, and then start the car. Thank you, Hua, I'll be there in half an hour. When I arrive at the hospital, my best friend is waiting for me at the entrance. She gave me a gentle hug, then took my hand and we dashed to room 413. Yuan, this is the new iPad Dad bought for you. I've downloaded over 50 games on it, and you can play with it as soon as you come out tomorrow. Dad, does it really not hurt? Am I a good kid if I give my kidney to Auntie? It doesn't hurt at all. In a few days, Dad will take you out for fried chicken, burgers, hot pot. I was so angry my head was about to smoke. This was how he tricked our daughter into giving her kidney to his sister. What kind of father is this? He's worse than an animal. I kicked the door open, and Wang Zimo's face immediately darkened. He said gloomily, weren't you on a business trip? Why did you come back without saying anything? I slapped him across the face. With a crisp smack, Wang Zimo was left utterly bewildered. My best friend stood at the door, holding her daughter's hand. I said coldly, who gave you permission to take Yuan's kidney? He touched his face and said, I'm her father. I gave her life. What's wrong with giving just one kidney? I remembered in my past life, he watched his daughter's health deteriorate and was unwilling to pay for medical expenses, even blaming Yuan for not taking care of herself. He said, why can others live just fine with one kidney, but you're so precious? I've scolded, yelled, and fought, but what matters more is that Yuan can survive. Not wanting to waste time, I borrowed money everywhere and sought medical help, never missing any opportunity. Yet they criticized Yuan behind my back, saying she was dragging the family down and that the money should have been used to support my sister-in-law's health. When I returned, exhausted, Yuan had already jumped from the 28th floor, her body shattered into a bloody mess. I held her ashes, read the letter she left for me, and cried for 3 whole days. To my dearest mother, dear Mom, I love you. I didn't want you to kneel and beg others for money. I deeply regret giving my kidney to Auntie. Dad is not a good man. He doesn't love you or me. Please leave him. I've been a burden to you and this family. I deserve to die. I hope you can find happiness. I never want to be Dad's daughter again. I could have sent him to prison, but I wasn't satisfied with that, so I went mad, and they all died. That kind of despair that feels like the heart has died instantly rushed to my head. I kicked him below, then grabbed his hair tightly and started hitting him. It hurts, doctor, save me. Lin Shihan, are you fucking crazy? I'm going to call the police. You're going to end up in jail. End up in jail. Yuan Yuan is only 13 years old. She can't get a kidney transplant at all. They falsified the documents and cheated with their friends to make the transplant happen. Let's see who ends up in jail when the police arrive. In my previous life, all my energy was spent on money and Yuan Yuan. Now that my daughter is safe and sound, all I need to do is get rid of them. I kicked him hard again in the lower part. He doesn't deserve to be a father. He should be crippled. It hurts. The man's voice grew fainter. As if he was about to pass out from the pain, I said coldly, she doesn't have a father. Her father is dead. Everyone in the Wang family deserves to die. Just as I was about to kick her a couple more times, an angry voice came from the doorway. Lin Shihan, what are you doing? It was my mother-in-law, who had come with my sister-in-law. That's great. They came to me on their own, otherwise I would have had to make a trip. I turned my head and looked at them with a smile. Can't you see? I'm beating up scum. My mother-in-law's face instantly turned as dark as coal, and she strode toward me, raising her hand to slap me. I kicked Wang Zimo hard with my foot. Hit me, if you dare, I'll cripple his brother. My mother-in-law's eyes were red, her hands trembling. You poisonous woman, you'll die a horrible death. I'll send you to the red light district to be trampled by thousands. I sneered coldly and kicked Wang Zimo again. Mother's debt, son's repayment. Well said. Please continue, old man. It hurts, Mom. Pull her away quickly, she's gone mad. I burst into laughter. That's right, I'm mad. Killing someone doesn't require compensation. My mother-in-law trembled with fear, slowly backing away and pressing close to my sister-in-law. I am your elder. How dare you hit me? You will face retribution. Retribution. I kicked him again. Speak properly, or I'll beat him to death. The room fell silent instantly. Sure enough, the soft fear the hard fear the tough, and the tough fear the desperate. My sister-in-law forced a faint smile. Sis, don't get worked up. Let's sit down and have a proper chat. We're family. After all, what could possibly be so irreconcilable? I turned my head and glared at her coldly. There's nothing to discuss. I will never give you Yuan Yuan's kidney. The smile on my sister-in-law's face vanished instantly. She gently nudged her mother-in-law with her arm. I quickly gave my best friend a look, signaling her to take Yuan Yuan away first. These people would do anything for my sister-in-law. Just now, Yuan Yuan was frightened, but my mind was filled with scenes from my past life, and I couldn't hold back. Yuan Yuan shook her head vigorously, refusing to leave. I knew she was afraid I would suffer, and she was also a bit worried about Wang Zimo. At this point, the Wang family's true colors hadn't fully shown yet, and in her heart, Wang Zimo was still her father. A sturdy man appeared behind my best friend, and she blinked at me to reassure me. Everyone has to grow up, even if she doesn't want to go out. It's good to take a look. Mother-in-law smiled and looked at Yuan Yuan. Don't worry about this matter. We've already agreed to have the kidney transplant tomorrow. Yuan Yuan is a good granddaughter. She knows how well her aunt treats her and can't bear to see her aunt suffer. She volunteered to donate. I didn't like hearing that, so I gave Wang Zimo a hard kick. The man couldn't even cry out in pain, only heavy gasps indicating he was still alive. The sister-in-law's face grew increasingly grim as she struggled to force a faint smile. Sister-in-law, please don't kick my brother. It's all my fault. How could I have gotten this illness? I've burdened this family. If not getting a kidney transplant would make you happy, I'm willing. I let out a cold, mocking laugh. No wonder she's the favorite. She really knows how to put on an act. Starting over again, why can't I help but laugh every time? I cleared my throat lightly. As long as you all speak properly, I won't kick him out. And yes, it is you who dragged this family down. The kidney transplant is out of the question. You'll have to figure something else out yourselves. My sister-in-law cried, her tears falling like pear blossoms in the rain. The mother-in-law was heartbroken beside them, and even Wang Zimo, who had fainted from the pain, opened his eyes. The mother-in-law pulled her daughter into her arms and gently patted her back. Don't cry, my dear. Since Yuan Yuan has agreed to donate a kidney, her kidney is yours. If I, an old woman, can't even secure my own granddaughter's kidney, what right do I have to live? Hee, then go die. Wang Zimo glared at me fiercely. A selfish woman like you is truly disgusting. I must have had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes to marry you. You'd better agree to the kidney transplant, or I'll call the police and have you thrown in jail. Hee. By then, Yuan Yuan will have no choice but to listen to me. you can live with just one kidney. I don't know why you're getting so worked up. I crossed my arms, my eyes filled with icy shards. How could I have ever thought such a man was someone I could entrust my life to? I was too young back then, blinded by the harmonious atmosphere of their family. My sister-in-law was only 12 at the time, the late-born child of my mother-in-law, with a pair of smiling eyes, and everyone doted on her. They would serve each other food and also tease each other's shortcomings, everyone laughing happily. I am an orphan, and I was extremely envious. I have always wanted a family like this since I was young. At that time, my mother-in-law said with a smile, Henin, our family can be a bit noisy, but everyone is good-hearted. I hope you don't mind. I didn't mind. I even helped raise my sister-in-law with them, and the family atmosphere was quite pleasant until my daughter was born. They still doted on my sister-in-law and showed little affection toward my child. Yuan was very sensible, never causing a fuss or making noise, and her clothes were all hand-me-downs from my sister-in-law. I wanted her to have a better life, so I worked tirelessly from dawn till dusk. It was only later that I found out they had been pung Yuan since she was young, and all the good things I worked hard to buy were given to my sister-in-law. Yuan started helping her aunt with chores at the age of 2, becoming her personal maid. Upon learning this, I immediately arranged for her to live on campus, gradually reshaping her outlook on life, values, and worldview. The decision to have her live on campus greatly displeased her aunt, who went around saying that her illness was caused by my actions. I paid no attention to her, knowing that with one more step forward in my career, I could take Yuan and leave this household. In my previous life, when I returned home with the offer letter for the position of operations director, Yuan was lying in bed, her face pale. She smiled and said, Mom, I'm a good child. You won't abandon me, right? I hate it so much. Seeing their faces makes me want to hit them uncontrollably. Before he could steady himself, I slapped him, sending Wang Zimo tumbling to the ground again. I glared at him fiercely. We're getting divorced tomorrow. Whoever backs out is a coward. I've already called the police for you. Later, you must explain clearly why a 13-year-old child could have a kidney transplant. If you think kidneys aren't important, then cut one out yourself. I'll throw it straight to the dogs. A bunch of lowlifes, only know how to bully a child. My sister-in-law emerged from my mother-in-law's embrace, looking pitiful and vulnerable. Sister-in-law, you can't get a divorce. We're a good family. How can we just fall apart like this? Why did you call the police? These are all family matters. I'm not taking her kidney. I just asked Yuan to come chat with me. I don't believe a word she says. My sister-in-law is the most cunning among them. Being the group's favorite is not something just anyone can achieve. Step aside. Everyone step aside. Who called the police? A stern voice suddenly came from the doorway. I sighed softly. You were the ones who mentioned divorce, and you were the ones shouting about calling the police. The police are here. Now you've got what you wanted, haven't you? My sister-in-law's face grew paler and paler, looking as if she might faint at any moment. Just as I was about to explain the situation to the police, Wang Zimo jumped in. He pointed at my nose and said, Officer, I want to get a medical examination. This woman beat me up. I'm going to sue her for attempted murder of her husband and make sure she spends the rest of her life in prison. I looked at him gloomily. It was all my fault, yet he could still jump up. I should have worn pointed high heels and kicked him a few more times, until he was completely battered. It's fine, there will be more chances. Wang Zimo is capable of being a decent person. It's just that I didn't respect the opportunity given by heaven. The mother-in-law collapsed on the ground, crying so hard she could barely catch her breath. Officers, you must uphold justice for us, otherwise, I'll die right in front of you. The sister-in-law wiped away her tears and whispered, Officers, my sister-in-law didn't mean it. Couples fight and make up. We can handle this ourselves. As she spoke, she gave her mother-in-law a meaningful look. I softly, tisk, under my breath. Then I raised my hand and said loudly, Officer, they colluded with the hospital to forge documents and deceived a 13-year-old child into undergoing a kidney transplant. I want to sue them for intentional injury. My mother-in-law slapped the floor and shouted at the top of her lungs, We didn't do it. How could we possibly do such a thing? Don't just open your mouth and talk nonsense. Wang Zimo leaned against the wall, his eyes devoid of any warmth. Officer, don't listen to her nonsense. Yuan is my daughter. I care for her more than anything. I applauded them. They really knew how to spin a tale. I just recorded that. The faces of the three instantly fell. My mother-in-law glared at me fiercely, while Wang Zimo tried to laugh it off. It was all Yuan's own choice. We're her family. How could we possibly force her? The most disgusting thing is these so-called family members who profit from others' suffering. I smiled as I turned on the recording. Watching their faces grow darker by the second, my sister-in-law fainted on the spot. My mother-in-law and Wang Zimo were beside themselves with anxiety. I suspected that 90% of it was an act. She was lucky to be at the hospital, otherwise, whether she faked it or not, she wouldn't have had an easy time. The nurse rushed her into the emergency room in no time. The other two tried to follow, but I blocked their way. One of you needs to go to the police station and explain the kidney swapping situation clearly. I know that even if I go to the police station, I might not be able to go to jail because the kidney transplant hasn't been completed yet, but I have to go. I want him to have a criminal record, which will be important evidence for getting custody of Yuan in the future divorce, and that doctor, I won't let him off either. If he dares to falsify Yuan's information, what about others? There must be many victims. The mother-in-law angrily pounded her chest. Lin Shihan, be a decent person, Shasha's life is hanging in the balance, and we haven't even addressed the assault yet. What are you meddling in? They're worse than animals. Why should I act like a decent person? What does it matter to me whether she lives or dies? You're the ones who wanted to call the police. Don't tell me you can't handle it now. Today, you must go to the police station and give Yuan an explanation, and you must also promise not to target her kidney anymore. I had just finished speaking when that mother and son lunged at me like mad. I have no idea which word struck a nerve with them. If they dared to hit me, I would scream domestic violence. Unfortunately, 2 police officers stopped them. The police took Wang Zimo to get his injuries examined, and he said, "It's already swollen, red and painful, definitely a serious injury. I want her to go to jail," I said coldly. "If it's not a serious injury, should I keep hitting him?" The man immediately wilted. My mother-in-law looked at us with a cold, sinister gaze. My best friend brought Yuan and that burly man over. This is Lawyer Zhao, who also works part-time as a detective. You can turn to him for anything. My eyes lit up instantly, and I gave her a thumbs up. She truly is my best friend. The man glared at Hua and said with a smile, "While we have time now, let's go over the events again." I nodded and quickly told him everything I knew. Yuan listened to my words with a face full of shock. I tightly held my daughter's hand, and at that moment, I clearly felt that I had truly returned. This time, I would rather die than let her get hurt. Yuan, your kidneys are very important to you, and you absolutely must not give them to anyone. One kidney will be overloaded, leading to many diseases, and it's very likely you could end up with kidney failure like Wang Luosha. This is not an exaggeration. Yuan's kidney failure in her previous life was caused by overloading. Seeing my serious expression, Yuan nodded obediently. I held her tightly in my arms. If you were gone, would die. By the time we finished our meal, the injury assessment had already come out. Wang Zimo looked bewildered, staring at the report in disbelief. I calmly took it. Minor injuries, soft tissue damage, partial impairment of organ function. I had long guessed this would be the outcome. If it were serious injuries, he wouldn't even be able to crawl. If I had known Lawyer Zhao was behind me, I would have kicked him to pieces. At the police station, Lawyer Zhao presented the video he had recorded from behind, along with Yuan's medical records from the hospital and some payment receipts. Yuan took out her phone, and the chat records on it also proved that they had deceived the child into donating a kidney. Wang Zimo clutched his lower body in pain, shouting, "I want to be examined for injuries again. It definitely can't be just a minor injury. We didn't know minors couldn't receive kidney transplants. It was all Li Chong's idea. Yes, it's all his fault." To reduce his punishment, Wang Zimo betrayed his friend who worked at Boai Hospital. All the responsibility was shifted onto Li Chong, and Wang Zimo even voluntarily handed over the chat records to the police. His friend must have had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes to help him forge documents. The police officer's eyes flickered repeatedly. Only a fool would pass up a chance to earn credit. I never expected him to be so unreliable. Just a few threats, and he spilled everything. In the end, the police filed a case against the hospital, while Wang Zimo only ended up with a criminal record and a 15-day detention. No choice. Who let him have a friend who takes the blame? The chat records perfectly absolved him of responsibility. I guess this was taught to him by his sister-in-law. As for the injuries on him, they were all considered friction between husband and wife, and after a few words to me, the mediation was considered complete. I'm a bit frustrated, regretting that I didn't hit harder. After receiving the stamped receipt, I calmly said, "When you get out, we'll meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Yuan will be with me, and you'll give me another 200,000. Impossible, unless she gives her kidney to my little sister." the man stubbornly insisted. Have you forgotten what the police officer just said? You can't donate living organs if you're under 18. The man snorted coldly, refusing to divorce. I knew it wouldn't be that easy. Then we'll see you in court. I took Yuan-Yuan's hand and left. She wanted to say something but didn't know how. As soon as we got in the car, Yuan-Yuan mustered her courage and whispered, Mom, I can give her a kidney. I don't want you to argue with them because of me. I gently stroked her head. Yuan-Yuan, you must remember, you can't give your organs to anyone. Your health will deteriorate, and it could be fatal. If you were gone, what would I live for? Sigh. I taught her to be too kind. I need to change my approach in the future. My best friend Hua Hua cleared her throat softly, and I immediately snapped back to reality. Lawyer Zhao, could you help us move? It's dangerous for us girls. The man nodded in agreement. Right, you're dangerous. I laughed heartily, pulling a self-defense tool from the glove compartment. I was in too much of a hurry earlier and forgot to take it out. Otherwise, Lawyer Zhao patted his head. I'm strong. I'm really good at moving things. Everyone in the car burst into laughter, with Hua Hua laughing especially exaggeratedly. Now that no one was at home, we moved quickly, and in less than 3 hours, we had taken away all the belongings that belonged to us, mother and daughter. We temporarily stayed at my best friend's house, and across the door was the strong Lawyer Zhao, which made me feel more at ease. Lawyer Zhao helped find a school and arranged for her to be in the same class as his nephew. Although the little boy is only 14 years old, he is at least 175 centimeters tall and has a well-built physique. With a flushed face, he said, Aunt Lin, I will definitely protect Yuan-Yuan. I've been practicing martial arts with my grandfather since I was a child, and I'm really good at it. No wonder Lawyer Zhao is so strong. He must have practiced martial arts from a young age as well. This is the first time I've seen such a robust lawyer. It's great. It gives a sense of security. I have also entrusted my divorce case entirely to Lawyer Zhao, and asked him to help investigate evidence of Wang Zimo's infidelity. My sister-in-law's best friend, Zhang Yahweh, once pointed at my nose in my previous life and said, You ugly, foolish woman, we've been together for 3 years, and you never noticed. I was busy with work every day, and the rest of my time was spent on Yuan-Yuan, so I really didn't pay much attention to men. This time, I'll definitely deal with them together. A week later, my mother-in-law came to my company with my sister-in-law. Is this meant to threaten me? Wang Luosha's face was pale, her body swaying unsteadily, as if she might collapse at any moment. Sister-in-law, please move back in with us. We are family. Bah, I've had the worst luck being part of her family, I said calmly. Don't call me sister-in-law. Zhang Yahweh is your good sister-in-law, and don't ask my daughter to donate a kidney. Zhang Yahweh's close friends and relatives must have a suitable match. My sister-in-law's face turned even paler, and she choked up as she spoke. Sister-in-law, you must have misunderstood. My brother loves you so much, and you will always be the only sister-in-law I have. My mother-in-law couldn't stand it any longer and snorted coldly. Our Sasha is just too soft-hearted, worrying that you have nowhere to live. Some people really don't know how to be grateful. They deserve to starve or freeze to death. The old woman's voice was loud, and as my colleagues walked back and forth, their curiosity was burning fiercely. I smiled and said, Auntie, even if I starve or freeze to death, I won't go back to your house. The divorce is settled, and the child will stay with me. Hey, last time I beat that guy surnamed Wang so badly, and it only counted as a minor injury. I wonder how well you can take a beating. I'm a madman. If I kill you, I won't have to pay with my life. Don't think I don't know your little schemes. If you do too many bad things, it's only natural for fate to make you pay with your life. My mother-in-law was so angry she was hopping mad. She raised her hand, wanting to slap me. Feeling quite pleased, I lightly sidestepped, and she fell flat on the ground. Clang, that must have hurt quite a bit. My mother-in-law collapsed on the floor and refused to get up, slapping the ground as she shouted loudly, Someone, come quick, my daughter-in-law is hitting her mother-in-law. My sister-in-law said softly, Sister-in-law, whether you get divorced or not, Yuan-Yuan will always be a granddaughter of our Wang family. You have her come back to keep me company. Only when I see her can I eat. I promise you, I absolutely will not take her kidney. I knew it. Their target is Yuan-Yuan, or more precisely, her kidney. This place is dangerous, but they're not dead yet. How can I leave? It seems I need to speed things up. It just so happens that my sister-in-law has been idle since being discharged from the hospital. I glanced at her and said seriously, I don't believe it. A dog can't change its habit of eating shit. I had the security guards drive them away and took leave to go to the red light district. I found a gentle and handsome guy for my sister-in-law, with a special requirement: he must be sick, seriously sick. Seeing the medical report and ID card he presented, I decided to give him a chance, have him pretend to be a gentle and considerate wealthy young man, 500 a day, with a 5,000 bonus for each time in bed. This man's appearance was prepared according to Wang Luosha's preferences. I guarantee she won't be able to control herself. Just as I walked out, I suddenly remembered my sister-in-law's best friend. How could I forget her for such a good opportunity? After thinking for a long time, I feel that the young man from earlier is still the most reliable. It's not impossible for one person to take two orders. Good sisters should know how to share. The young man's face lit up with a smile, and he repeatedly assured that he would definitely complete the task in just 5 days. He sent me intimate photos. I never expected it to be so quick. He had already gotten involved with 2 women. I happily transferred the money to him and told him to do it a few more times, as I could afford it. The day after Wang Zimo was released from the detention center, they came to the company to see me again. The security guards stopped them outside. I didn't want to see them at first, but they wouldn't leave, worried about the company's image. I took them to the coffee shop next door. Wang Zimo had lost a lot of weight and looked at least 10 years older. These past 2 weeks must have been really tough for him. Great, I trust lawyer Zhao to handle things well, he sighed. Henin, during these days inside, I've been reflecting on myself every day. I was wrong before, and from now on, I'll treat you and our daughter well. I was wrong, please come back. I didn't answer, looking at him with a faint, ambiguous smile. My sister-in-law's face was flushed, and she giggled from time to time. She said earnestly, "Sister-in-law, I've found a partner whose family can help me secure a kidney source, you can rest assured. And come back. I've watched Yuan grow up since she was little, and I truly care for her." I sipped my coffee, looking at the 2 siblings across from me with confusion. I really don't understand you both. You have Zhang Yaowei, and you have a new partner. Why do you always seek trouble? Wouldn't it be better if everyone just lived their own lives? Both of them wore expressions of utter embarrassment. A weasel giving New Year's greetings to a chicken is up to no good, no matter what they say. I won't believe it. Wang Zimo picked up the iced Americano and downed it in one gulp. I was just having fun with her. The only ones I truly love are you and our child. If you're willing to come back, I'll break things off with her immediately and never see her again. He's really disgusting. I almost threw up the noodles I ate last night. I turned to look at my sister-in-law. You have kidney failure, and someone still wants to be with you. You should cherish that. Wang Luosha chuckled softly and nodded happily. I feel relieved that they have a good relationship. I stood up and left, leaving behind a sentence. Wang Zimo, the People's Court has accepted the case. Let's not meet unnecessarily in the future. Seeing you makes me sick. Next time I see you, I'll call the police directly. Back in the office, I ended the part-time job for the young man and sent him a big red envelope as a reward. Using a backup phone, I sent the intimate photos of Zhang Yaowei and the young man to my sister-in-law. In less than 10 seconds, my sister-in-law kept sending messages. Who are you? The photo is photoshopped, isn't it? Are you my brother's ex-girlfriend? He and I are deeply in love. You have no chance. Where are you? I'll come find you. Vivi isn't that kind of person. You must have photoshopped it. Are you Zhang Yaowei? You bitch. How dare you steal my man? Tell me what's going on quickly. If you don't reply, I'll call the police. Quite excited, aren't we? I love watching dogs biting each other. I selected a few more revealing photos and sent them over, then flushed the phone card down the toilet. In the middle of the night, while I was sound asleep, a call came in. Half asleep, I pressed the answer button, and Wang Zimo's voice came through the phone. "Hannah, my little sister went out and came back fainting. The doctor said it's quite serious this time. Could you bring Yuan over to see her?" "Huh? Wishful thinking. They'll never get to see Yuan in this lifetime," I said calmly. "We're not doctors. Just looking at her won't make her better. You should find out the reason, what she did when she went out, and resolve her inner turmoil." Wang Zimo repeatedly agreed. I hoped to give him a surprise later. He still wouldn't give up and asked us to go see his sister. I hung up the phone directly. Ugh, he just doesn't know when to quit. The next day, lawyer Zhao sent me a message. Wang Zimo was back in detention. It said that he broke 2 of Zhang Yaowei's ribs, pulled out most of her hair, and carved the word slut on her face. Look, a woman with no name or status gives him a green hat, and he goes crazy. He gave me one for several years. Should I have him torn to pieces? Lawyer Zhao told me not to worry. Even if he goes to prison, I can still choose a default judgment during the divorce hearing. Last time Wang Zimo went to the police station, he sold out his friend very thoroughly. Li Chong has already been suspended for investigation and is now looking for him everywhere to settle the score. I'm such a nice person, just delivering a letter. I'm more than happy to help him. Once lawyer Zhao sends me Zhang Yue's specific address, I grab a stack of photos and rush over with my best friend. I haven't seen her since I came back this time, and I really miss her. As soon as I reach the door, I hear Zhang Yue's soft sobbing from inside. I gently pushed open the door and saw her sitting on the hospital bed with tears streaming down her face. Her head was mostly bald, covered in iodine, and a palm-sized bandage was stuck to her cheek. Such fitting words. Why were they blocked? I said with a smile. I heard it was Wang Zimo who personally beat you. After all these years by his side, even if you haven't made great contributions, you've at least put in the effort. How could he be so heartless? How could he brand such a beautiful girl with the word, slut? Hey, you actually dared to steal Shasha's man. It's only normal that you got hit. Zhang Yue's face changed colors. Like a chameleon, turning red, then green, then black, she said with righteous indignation. Is it wrong for me to pursue love? Who knew she liked brother you too? Wang Luosha is half dead anyway. Is she even worthy of competing with me? Once I recover, brother you and I will fly away together. That bitch isn't even worthy of tying Yugija's shoes. When he returns from France, we'll get married. Wang Zimo is really not a man. The night before last, he couldn't even perform. I had to force it. You should divorce him quickly, or you'll be stuck in a living widowhood for life. This is a ruthless person. I originally intended to use the photos to humiliate her, but it doesn't seem like it would have much effect on her. Without shame, one is invincible. I smiled and wished her, I hope you, Wang Zimo, and your brother you will be together forever. After saying that, I wanted to take my best friend's hand and leave. Hua Hua snorted coldly, broke free from my hand, and slapped her. Ugh, how shameless, stealing someone else's man and still acting so righteous, throwing yourself at any man you see. What's the difference between that and an animal? You're a disgrace to women everywhere. One day, you'll die because of a man. I smiled and looked at Hua Hua. If you've got something to say, go ahead and say more, Zhang Yue cried, probably from the pain of her wound. We only stayed in this room for less than 5 minutes. The rest was all Hua Hua's free performance. 23. On the way home, a colleague sent me a video showing my mother-in-law kneeling at the company's entrance, with a crowd of people watching. She said, call Lin Shihan out and beg her to save Shasha's life. If she doesn't come out, I'll kneel here forever. I gripped the steering wheel tightly. That old witch really deserves to die. For Yuanyuan's safety, I always think twice before doing anything. In my previous life, it only took a week of deployment to clear them all. I turned back to the company, called the police, and asked lawyer Zhao's nephew to keep an eye on Yuanyuan, making sure she didn't leave the school gate. We arrived at the same time as the police. My mother-in-law only had eyes for me, and she cried as she spoke. Hannah, you have to save her. You're the only one who can save Sasha. She's only 27, in the prime of her life. How can you bear to watch her die? How could I not bear it? I wish for her death every single day. Hearing that she's dying, I'm so excited I feel like singing, A Good Day. For her, I asked in confusion, how do you expect me to save her? I'm not a doctor. Coming to me is useless. She quickly crawled over and tightly hugged my leg. Yuanyuan can be saved. Please, give Yuanyuan back to me. Shasha is my biological daughter. She can't be in danger. Consider this old woman begging you. As long as you agree to the kidney transplant, I'll serve you like a slave for the rest of my life. I looked at her coldly. I knew they had never given up on this idea, but the moment she said it, my heart felt as if pierced by needles. Yuanyuan is Wang Zimo's own daughter, her own granddaughter. How could she be so heartless? Do you know that you can't donate a kidney at 13? You're committing a crime. No hospital would dare perform this surgery. My mother-in-law whispered, we can find a private clinic. Just bring Yuanyuan here, and you don't need to worry about the rest. They've thought of every loophole. I turned to the police officer and said, my daughter is only 13 years old. Last time it was Boai Hospital, and now it's a small clinic. They keep trying to cut out her kidney, ignoring laws and regulations. Now my daughter is even afraid to leave the house. Please arrest them all. My mother-in-law followed my gaze, rubbing her eyes, her face filled with anger. Lin Shihan, how could you be so heartless? We are family. I've even knelt down to beg you. How could you treat me like this? My dear Shasha, she can't die. If she dies, I'll crash my head against the entrance of your company. So, her daughter is a daughter, but my girl deserves to be a walking organ. I stared at her intently. Thank you for your repeated unreasonable demands. To avoid causing trouble for the company, I have already terminated my employment contract. If you die here, out of humanitarianism, I'll buy you a stack of spirit money to send you off on your journey. The mother-in-law was furious. That was her sister-in-law, whom she had doted on since childhood. Her mind was completely consumed with how to get Yuan-Yuan's kidney, and I am the only way. She rushed at me fiercely. Lin Shihan, my daughter is dead. Your daughter can't live either. Let's all die together. My heart was racing with excitement. One step closer, and I could kick her in the chest. This is self-defense. It would be best if I kicked her to death, and I wouldn't be held responsible. Unfortunately, they were stopped by 2 police officers. It's really a shame. My feet were all ready. The mother-in-law was pinned to the ground, and she shouted, I just wanted to save my daughter. I did nothing wrong. You are all bad people. You will die a terrible death. The police took her to the detention center to keep her son company. My sister-in-law is in the hospital alone. She must be very lonely. I must go visit her. I've been going to the hospital a lot lately, but I'm really happy. I went to the People's Hospital again with my best friend. As for what happened last time, I've already had a falling out with Bo-I. So I have to switch hospitals. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I heard the sound of Wang Luosha smashing things, wah wah, and I exchanged a glance. Well, some people just can't handle losing. I calmly pushed the door open and entered. My sister-in-law's face was flushed with an unnatural redness, and her hair had noticeably thinned. When she saw me come in, a flicker of hope flashed in her eyes. Sister-in-law, can I borrow your phone? Has something happened to brother Yu? Why isn't he answering my calls? I didn't expect men to be so useful. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, she anxiously continued, Sister-in-law, brother Yu loves me the most. He said he would give me a grand wedding. That bitch Zhang Yaowei, she's been messing around with brother Yu. You should go and beat her to death. As long as she's dead, brother will come back to you. Brother Yu will help me find a kidney donor, and I'll give him a big, healthy son. We'll be together forever. She really dares to dream. Calmly, I took out my phone and played back the few sentences Zhang Yaowei had just said to her. My sister-in-law's eyes were red with anger. Panting heavily, I said quietly, I have no feelings for your brother. If you can get up, go and beat her to death. Seeing my sister-in-law so angry that she rolled her eyes made me feel much better. Almost forgot. Your mother just went to my company to make a scene and got arrested by the police and taken to the detention center. Wang Luosha picked up an orange from beside her and threw it over. I caught it gently. You're still the best to your sister-in-law. Thank you. Get out of here. I refused to leave, pulling my best friend to sit down, and didn't leave until I finished all her fruit. Wang Luosha is dead. I saw it on the news. She went to confront Zhang Yaowei with a kitchen knife, but ended up being killed instead. Zhang Yaowei chopped her into small pieces and flushed them down the drain. Wang Zimo, after being released from detention, searched everywhere for his sister and finally found her after reporting to the police. There are only 2 suspects, so it's quite easy to figure out. Zhang Yaowei's injuries never healed and only got worse. Finally, she went to the hospital for a checkup and was diagnosed with AIDS. She was placed in the infectious disease ward, and everyone kept their distance from her. Wang Zimo has gone mad. He was with Zhang Yaowei some time ago. On his way to the hospital for a checkup, he was attacked by Li Chang. That doctor friend of his, who lost his job, was despised by everyone, and became a social outcast because of him. The police arrested Li Chang, but Wang Zimo was left half dead from the attack. He also contracted AIDS, lying in bed with wounds continuously festering, maggots wriggling, and a foul stench filling the air. After being released from detention, my mother-in-law went completely insane. The daughter she had longed for was dead, and her son was lying paralyzed in bed, waiting to die. She went to the company looking for me, but unfortunately, I had already been transferred to another city. I had already obtained the divorce certificate, and I had no connection whatsoever with their family. I took Yuan to a new city to start over, and Lawyer Zhao's nephew followed along. He said, I'm worried about Yuan. There are too many bad people out there, and she can't manage without me. Yuan smiled happily. How could I refuse a boy who was willing to protect her from a young age? Later, Lawyer Zhao told me that the old witch, while taking care of Wang Zimo, accidentally contracted AIDS as well. She bought rat poison and poisoned both herself and Wang Zimo. It wasn't until the bodies began to smell that they were discovered by the neighbors. 6 months later, Bo-I Hospital was found to be involved in numerous illegal activities. From top to bottom, there was a complete overhaul. with 23 people sent to prison, among whom Li Chong was sentenced to 25 years in prison. After hearing the second story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. When I was 15, I lent my lucky koi aura to Jack. 6 months later, Jack's wealthy parents came to the orphanage and took him home. When I was 18, I stopped him from having an early relationship with the school beauty queen who bullied me. Later, she died instantly in a car accident. Jack blamed me for her death. He tore up my exam permit, making me miss the college entrance exam and ruining my life. I was forced to wander, but Jack still wouldn't let me go, stuffing me into a coffin and burying me alive. Waking up again, I was reborn at 18. This time, I'm taking back my lucky charm. So hungry, I murmured, my eyes vacant. People came and went on the street, and those who passed by me all walked around with looks of disgust. I ignored their strange looks and saw a trash can ahead. I shuffled over, bent down with difficulty, and buried my upper body in the trash can to rummage through it. This time, I was luckier. I found some spoiled leftover rice, with glistening green liquid emanating from it. I didn't mind and shoved it all into my mouth. I haven't eaten anything for 3 days. The unpalatable, spoiled rice in my mouth made me nauseous, and I couldn't help but spit it all out within seconds. My stomach rumbled with hunger, and suddenly my eyes began to sting. I clutched the trash can tightly, my throat choked, but the tears in my eyes seemed to have dried up. Not a single tear could be squeezed out, only hoarse, unpleasant whimpers. I really want to eat a mouthful of fragrant rice, but it's so difficult for me right now. Must be starving. Jack stood behind me, his tone icy, with a hint of sarcasm. I sniffled, not looking at him. I didn't even have the strength to lift my head. Leaning against the trash can, the flies were annoyed that I disturbed their feeding, and were now buzzing around my face. What do you want to play this time? I said, feeling weak. Ever since the school beauty Bella died, Jack designed a plan to make my adoptive parents disappointed in me, ruining my reputation and making me an object of scorn. The whole city blacklisted me, refusing me entry to dine in. No one dared to hire me, and I couldn't even get a job as a dishwasher on the street. Jack slowly played with me like this, and when I was on the verge of starvation, he would propose playing a game. As long as he was happy, he would give me a piece of steamed bun or a serving of white rice. The live broadcast made me clean all the public toilets in the city, and I was rewarded with 2 steamed buns. They put an iron chain around my neck, tied me up, and made me walk on the street for people to watch, even letting people ride on my back, and I was rewarded with a serving of white rice. Jack sneered and told the bodyguard behind him to take him away. The bodyguard roughly grabbed my hands and dragged me directly towards a nearby van. The burning pain of my instep scraping against the ground made me bite my lower lip tightly, drawing a few drops of crimson blood. Jack, meanwhile, watched me with cold eyes, pretending not to see even as my blood stained a trail on the ground. The people around pointed and whispered, but no one dared to step forward and intervene. Who would dare provoke the unpredictable eldest young master? The last person who helped me is still in the hospital, with comminuted fractures in both hands and shattered fingers, so I no longer expect anyone to save me, and I don't want anyone else to get hurt because of me. My eyes were blank as I looked at Jack standing in the sunlight. He was no longer the big brother who once had eyes only for me. He was no longer the one who, when the orphanage director was stingy and didn't give us enough to eat, and my stomach rumbled in the middle of the night, would sneak into the kitchen through the window to steal a few meat buns for me. I still remember then. I was squatting in the corner, my eyes red, wolfing down the meat buns. Are you a pig? You eat so fast. Jack gently stroked my head, saying softly, at that time, I wasn't crying because I was hungry. It was because Jack was caught by the dean stealing meat buns, and the dean beat him severely with a wooden stick. He desperately protected the meat buns in his arms, and when he brought them to me, he was covered in bruises. There were still a few bloodstains on his thin face. His eyes were bright, and he smiled, urging me to eat quickly. There's really no way to deal with you. From now on, I'll have to earn a lot of money to support you. Hee, Jack said thoughtlessly, and I buried my head even lower, but my tears flowed more and more uncontrollably. It was the first time someone had been so kind to me, so touching. So at that time, I lent my lucky koi energy to Jack, and he was no longer caught by the dean when stealing meat buns. When he went out to raid bird nests, he would always come back with a basket full of bird eggs. After that, everything went smoothly for him, and even the dean started to treat him well. I won't have to go hungry anymore. Jack always thinks of me first whenever he has something good. A sharp pain in my stomach pulled me back to reality. I had been thrown into a van, and Jack's figure disappeared from my sight. When I woke up, I found myself in a cramped space. A thought made my whole body tremble, and my back began to tingle, as if someone had plugged an electric wire directly into me. Let me out, let me out, I have severe claustrophobia, and Jack knows that. My heart skipped a beat, and tears welled up in my nearly dry eyes. My heartbeat quickening, a feeling of uneasy dread surged through me, and I kept screaming for help. Slowly, I began to feel like I couldn't breathe. The small loudspeaker in the room blared, "Nora, this is what you deserve. If it weren't for you, Bella wouldn't have died." I couldn't hear anything Jack said after that. My consciousness began to dissipate. Yet, I was the one who saved Bella. You're the one who killed Bella, so why am I the one suffering? Hey, dummy, didn't you hear me talking? An arrogant female voice came from beside me. My mind rumbled. The fear of claustrophobia hadn't dissipated, and what met my eyes was Jack's expressionless face. I thought this was a scene from the afterlife, and a strong sense of grievance welled up in me. I swung my arm in a full circle and slapped Jack hard across the face. He stared at me, bewildered. Before he could react, Bella, who had just spoken, gasped and then pushed me to the ground. "Are you crazy? I talk to you and you don't respond. Why are you hitting Jack? Do you have a death wish?" Bella tenderly touched Jack's swollen cheek. "Jack, I told you, your sister is sick, but you didn't believe me. Now she's even hit you." Perhaps still not appeased, she glared at me resentfully and kicked at me again. But I dodged it. "You dare to dodge." Seconds later, Bella's screams were incessant. I was like a mad tigress, pouncing on her and fiercely pulling her hair. Many strands of hair floated on the ground. My eyes were filled with grievance and anger, brimming with tears, but my actions became more and more excessive. "It's you, you wretched woman. You made my life so miserable. It's all you, all you." By the time Jack reacted, I had already knocked Bella to the ground. Only then did some expression appear on his face. He angrily pushed me away and carefully picked up Bella. I saw his hands trembling. I frowned, and only then did I feel the stinging pain in my hand. I realized I had been reborn, returning to the time when Bella and Jack were secretly flirting. Gazing at the two of them, I curled my lips into a smile, my nails digging into my flesh until it was bloody and raw, yet I felt no pain. Bella was a genuine rich heiress, and I, an adopted daughter of the James family, had slapped her in public. The school didn't dare to suppress it, and even called in the parents. "Mom, this is her. She hit Jack and she hit me. People with such bad character shouldn't be allowed to stay in school." Bella held an ice pack, pointing at me with eyes full of hatred. Bella's mother was dressed in a business suit. I remembered her as a career woman, decisive and efficient, and she was also a shareholder in the school. She saw the bruises all over her daughter's body, and several patches of her scalp were bald from where I had pulled her hair. Jack, looking terrifyingly calm, stepped forward and bowed sincerely to Bella's mother. "Aunt Fiona, it's my fault for not controlling my sister, which caused your daughter to get hurt." After saying that, he walked up and pressed on my neck, demanding that I apologize to Bella, but I resisted, refusing to let him have his way. In my previous life, the first time I saw the two of them being sneaky under a tree, I merely approached them with a slightly unpleasant tone, but she was ruthless with me, beating me so badly I ended up in the hospital, and the school just sent a fruit basket and a bouquet of flowers as a condolence, and just like that, the matter was over. I couldn't stand it, but Jack held me back, saying, "Don't provoke Bella anymore. She's a young lady from a prominent family. We can't afford to offend her. It's better to avoid trouble than to seek it." I, who had always trusted Jack, endured it after hearing his words. It was later, when I stumbled upon them meeting again. Bella asked Jack if he felt bad that his sister was beaten, and Jack's breathing, which had been labored, became cold. "Why do you bring her up? She's just a lapdog I happened to raise." That night, I couldn't stop my tears. Bella's revenge grew increasingly vicious. After lending Jack her luck, my surrounding magnetic field weakened, and my luck became incredibly bad. I always ran into Bella around every corner, and I would tremble all the way home after being bullied. Jack said with a look of disgust, "How many times have I told you? Why do you keep provoking Bella? You deserve to be hurt like this." Jack changed after he met Bella. He was no longer the big brother I trusted to steal meat buns for me. Seeing that I was unwilling to apologize, Jack became angry, and the force in his hand became heavier. "Apologize?" Jack's mother, who had been silent, couldn't bear to step forward and intervene. I slapped away the hand on my neck, and even disdainfully wiped the spot that had been touched with a tissue. Jack's face was grim, and I sneered, "If I'm wrong, isn't she wrong too? Why should I apologize? I saw Jack being pinned against a tree trunk by a woman, and I thought someone was bullying him. Who knew you two were? I paused after that, and everyone present changed their expressions. Bella tried to stop me from speaking further. Nora, what nonsense are you talking about? But I still said it all. I didn't know they were kissing. I just thought my brother was being bullied and wanted to help. Who knew I'd ruin their good time? And Bella came up and hit me, pushed me to the ground, and cursed at me with terrible words. If you don't believe me, go check the surveillance. As soon as I finished speaking, Bella's face turned pale, and her lips trembled as she looked at her mother. At this moment, Jack's lips were tightly pressed, and his eyes were red as he looked at me, but I ignored it all. Bella's mother was a very strict disciplinarian. How could she tolerate her daughter getting involved in a relationship early? Bella only dared to act tough outside. As expected, Bella, who was originally going to cause trouble for me, was now thinking in her mind about how to get past her mother. I'll deal with you when we get home. Bella's mother's face darkened at this, and she dragged Bella out of the principal's office. After returning home, Jack and I were both punished by kneeling in the backyard. I was there for fighting, and he was there for deceiving our parents. Back then, he had sworn he was solely focused on studying, intending to be his parents' successor in the future. Jack's dad was furious when he found out about him and the school beauty, and told us to kneel first. If you get first place in this month's exam, I'll let you off. Jack's mom couldn't bear to see us two kids kneeling at night, so she begged and threw a fit until Jack's dad finally relented. Jack, hearing the demand, confidently agreed. Don't worry, Dad. I'll still be first in my grade no matter what my grades are. Meanwhile, I sneered from a place where no one else could see me. Your first possibility is out of the question. I lent Jack all his good fortune. When Jack returned, he wasn't very relaxed. Jack's father had very high expectations, wanting him to study finance and master all his coursework. He was raising Jack to be his heir, but Jack had been in an orphanage since childhood, and even his schooling was intermittent. Compared to his peers who had received higher education since childhood, he struggled considerably. On countless nights, I saw him studying frantically into the night. I ran up and hugged him, comforting him. Brother, don't be afraid. As long as Nora is by your side, you will definitely get better and better. No one knew that I could lend him my luck simply by actively hugging someone. I never even told Jack this secret back then, afraid of damaging his self-esteem. He attributed all of it to his talent. Now I won't lend it to you. Let's see how you get first place. The incident of me hitting Bella spread throughout the school, and some even talked about their relationship. That day, Bella came to school and glared at me, her eyes full of a desire to tear me apart. I wasn't afraid to meet her gaze either. Perhaps thinking of my ruthless actions, she didn't bother me again. However, I heard that after she went back, her mother froze all her spending cards, only giving her pocket money if she ranked in the top 30 for exams. Bella's grades had always been poor. In fact, she was at the bottom of her class. In the previous life, Jack helped her cheat just to barely pass, but after school, it still couldn't stop the two from their secret rendezvous, which many students witnessed. During class, Jack and Bella were exchanging flirtatious glances, so much so that even the teacher couldn't stand it and threw a piece of chalk. That's enough. You two, this is your senior year. I know your families are prominent, but your grades still prove your ability. But Jack, in front of all the students, undermined the teacher. Teacher, even if I don't listen to your class, I can still get first place in the whole school. Having borrowed my luck, Jack could read 10 lines at a glance, remember everything he saw, and recall all the questions he had studied, making exams naturally easy for him. Jack completely disregarded the teacher, even scoffing directly and mocking him, saying, "Besides, teacher, your class is very boring." The teacher was so angry that his eyes widened like copper coins. Looking at this Chinibu Jack, I couldn't understand why I had ever been fond of him or stuck by him. It must have been partly Bella's doing. I watched her, heavily made up, her clothes altered to be very tight, outlining her newly developing figure, gazing at Jack with starry eyes. Remember Bella saying she liked mature men, and after seeing Jack's changes, I understood. After that, I didn't pay much attention to the two of them, focusing solely on reviewing, attending classes, and studying. In my previous life, after lending out my luck, my memory declined, and I was plagued by bad luck. Although I still had some luck, half of it was already lent to Jack, leaving me with only half now. That's right, if my luck runs out, it's gone. The fortune teller told me this with a very serious expression at the time, so all I can rely on is hard work and diligence. But none of that matters. I don't regret the luck I lent out before. Jack deserved it. He gave me warmth when I needed companionship. the most. From now on, we go our separate ways. Time quickly came to the monthly exam. Although I studied very hard this month, I only made a little progress, and there were a few major problems I still hadn't solved at all. However, considering my score of 30-something in my previous life, it shouldn't be that bad this time. I listed all the problems I didn't know how to solve, and as soon as I got home, I quickly ate dinner and rushed into my room to bury myself in work again. Every night, I would study until 1 or 2 in the morning, only sleeping when I was too tired to stay awake. This day, I had just finished solving a problem, then I heard a sound from outside. I walked to the door and opened a crack to look out. Jack's father, dressed in casual clothes, was sitting on the living room sofa, speaking to Jack, who reeked of alcohol, in a tone that betrayed no emotion. "Why are you back so late again?" Jack, unsteady from drinking, swayed as he walked and said with a smile, "The monthly exam just finished, so I went out to relax with some classmates." "Nonsense," Jack's father angrily slammed the table. "This is a crucial time for the college entrance exam, just a small monthly exam, and you're out every night. Is it because you've been with that girl from the Powell family again recently?" "Dad, we just went out, we didn't do anything. Besides, with my ability, there's no way I'll fail the exam." Jack hadn't realized the seriousness of the situation yet. He was always very confident in himself. However, it's no wonder he couldn't discover it. After all, some of my luck still remained with him. He wouldn't be immediately exposed but would slowly lose the conveniences my luck brought him. I hope you don't disappoint me. If you could put in as much effort as Nora does now, I wouldn't worry about you." Jack's mother heard the noise and came out, comforting Jack's father, which finally dispelled the oppressive atmosphere from before. "Son, it's getting late. Tomorrow is when the grades come out and school starts. You should go back, wash up, and go to bed." Jack's mother was afraid that if she let the father and son continue to argue, Jack's father would get upset again. Jack, on the other hand, had been reprimanded repeatedly lately, and his expression was starting to sour. In my previous life, whenever Jack had a problem, I would take the blame for him or tip him off in advance. Jack was often late too, but I would playfully ask Jack's dad to play chess with me after dinner. Once he was tired from playing, he wouldn't have the energy to notice Jack's unusual behavior. He probably still thinks Jack's dad isn't strict and has always doted on him. That's what makes him so brazen. In my previous life, it was because of my poor grades and my lies for Jack that he was able to make my adoptive parents lose trust in me with just a few words, kick me out of the house. The next day, at school, Jack called me out alone. I frowned and glanced at my watch, saying coldly, 10 minutes, my time is very precious right now. Speak quickly. Perhaps my recent attitude had been too cold. Jack's expression changed slightly upon hearing this, but then he said, "I hope you still go and apologize to Bella. After all, you were in the wrong first." For some reason, hearing that sentence still made my heart ache. When I was little at the orphanage, there wasn't even enough food to eat. One fat kid tried to snatch my food, and I immediately fought him. Jack saw it and unhesitatingly stood in front of me, regardless of whether I was right or wrong, and beat the fat kid until he apologized to me. At that time, he was like a guardian stepping out of the light for me. One look and I was completely smitten. What I found touching as a child is now being directed back at me. I casually said, "What if I say no?" On shelf point, Jack's face was grim, a flicker of displeasure in his eyes. "Nora, don't forget, you wouldn't be living this life without me. I've been really annoyed with you lately, going against me." I smiled, a brilliant smile, and as I smiled, tears welled up. I said, "Yes, I just want to go against you. To be honest, I haven't liked the sight of you for a long time. Nora, you've changed." I ignored him. 10 minutes were up, and I headed straight to the classroom to study. I didn't have much time left. I needed to seize every minute and every second to secure a safe future for myself. After the monthly exam results came out, Jack's father was furious, grabbing the ashtray from the table and throwing it at Jack's forehead. "Look at your grades, you can't even get into the top 10 in the class, and you talk about being first place. You're really making me mad." Jack used to easily get first place, but suddenly he dropped back, not even making it into the top 10. He knelt on the ground, head bowed in silence, while Jack's mother watched the bright red blood flowing from her son's forehead, with a look of heartache. She helped Jack's father calm down, then pleaded, "Honey, please don't get so angry." Our son finally came home. He didn't study well before, maybe the recent study pressure was too much, and he just didn't perform normally. Jack's father was too angry to speak. Jack's mother quickly had a servant bring a first aid kit to stop Jack's bleeding, and said with concern, "Son, quickly apologize to your father and say that you will study hard from now on, and you can definitely get first place again next month." "Okay," Jack's father said angrily at this point. "What pressure? I think he's been hanging out with that bad girl from the Powell family, and his grades have just slipped." Jack, feeling rebellious, retorted defiantly, "Dad, we're just very good friends, don't talk about her like that. I'll definitely get first place next time. This time I was just careless." Hearing this, I subtly curved my lips. "Very good friends, I knew you'd say that, which is why I paid someone to follow them both a while ago." The photos must have already been sent to Jack's dad, sure enough. Jack's dad stood up, and a flurry of photos, flung from his hand, rained down directly over Jack's head. He said furiously, "Humph, unfilial son, arrogant and prone to lying. I really don't want to admit you're my son." He saw him and Bella intimately dancing on the floor at the bar, entering and exiting hotel rooms, or sharing a straw at a coffee shop in the afternoon. Jack panicked, his face turning a myriad of colors. He crawled to his father's leg. "Dad, listen to me, this isn't real. This must have been AI processed. You have to believe me, I didn't do it." This time, Jack's father no longer believed him. He said coldly, "Whether it's true or not is no longer important. I don't only have one son. If you can't bear the heavy responsibility of being the successor in the future, then I can still ensure you live a comfortable life. But as for managing the company, that depends on whether you're qualified." This time, Jack was truly panicked. He repeatedly kowtowed, admitting his mistakes and promising that such a thing would never happen again. "In my previous life, with my luck blessing him, everything Jack did was easy, and he won countless awards, which made him very favored by Jack's father. That's why he wanted to train Jack to be his successor. It was more out of guilt that he showed him such favoritism, but what I didn't expect was that Jack later used the hard-won happiness against me, leading to my tragic death. Even now, the thought of the fear of claustrophobia before death still sends shivers down my spine." I also sent a copy to Bella's mother, and I'm happy about the situation she's in now. I deliberately checked, and her grades were in the bottom 10th. Well, all in all, the two of them are quite a good match. This time, I passed every subject, unlike in my previous life when I failed. After the monthly exam results came out, their rendezvous became less blatant than before. Jack started studying diligently, but the more he studied, the more his eyebrows furrowed and the more anxiety appeared on his face. I was secretly looking forward to seeing how hard he would try. After school, Bella had people block me inside the school. Her eyebrows were raised, and she said sharply, "Bitch, was it you who sent things to my mother?" I raised an eyebrow, surprised she'd suspect me, but I didn't want to deal with her. I clutched my backpack and started to leave. "I don't understand what you mean. Move, don't block me from going home to study. My mind is completely filled with exam questions right now." I just had a flash of insight while walking, and now I'm desperate to pull out my notes and solve it immediately. It's just a shame that this situation probably won't allow it. Trying to leave, even if it wasn't you. I've disliked you for a long time, a parasite living in Jack's house. Just thinking about being in the same school as someone like you makes me sick. This school isn't a place for a pauper like you. The people next to me also started to mock, and I scanned everyone here, silently taking note. They started to roll up their sleeves, and I bit down on my back molars. In my previous life, they beat me until I was black and blue all over, almost unable to get out of bed. Even if it comes to blows today, I will make sure they don't go home unscathed. They kept cornering me. At Bella's command, I sneered and said, "Bella, don't regret what you're doing today." "Heh, I'm not afraid even if the King of Heaven himself shows up. If I don't cripple you today, my name isn't Xia." As she yelled, "What are you all standing around for? Go." My face was panicked, and I still took a few punches, but the next second, everyone who came up screamed and fell to the ground, clutching their eyes. I held the pepper spray in one hand and the stun gun in the other, pointing it at them and shouting furiously, "Come on, bring it on, even if it costs me my old life today, I'm taking you down with me." The pepper spray filled the air, making those behind me instinctively step back a few paces. I seized the opportunity and bolted. They chased after me, and just then, I saw the teacher approaching. He saw a student being bullied and shouted, "What are you doing?" The people chasing me heard him and immediately ran in the opposite direction. I thanked the teacher breathlessly. He only relaxed after checking that I wasn't injured. He then said to the person behind him, "Jack, since you're here, why don't you take your sister home?" It was then that I noticed Jack standing behind the teacher. Though his expression was a bit off, he bowed to the teacher and said, "Okay, teacher, I felt there was something off about his attitude, and just as I was bewildered, his next sentence made me laugh out of anger. In front of the teacher, he said, "Nora, you're actually learning to fight people." I rolled my eyes and scoffed. "Bro, didn't you see that I was being chased and bullied? As my brother, you didn't even care about me first. And now you're blaming me. Are you sick? I saw you holding a weapon," Jack said with a cold face. Looking at him like that, I almost wanted to give up. He wasn't my brother in name anyway. It was just my wishful thinking. I held up the pepper spray and stun gun in my hand and said sarcastically, "My family doesn't protect me, they protect outsiders. Can't I have some self-defense items?" Jack's face became unpredictable again, and I added, "Oh, right, I don't have any family anymore. And I won't need any in the future. What are you being unreasonable about now?" This time, I ignored him again, turned around and left, going home by myself. In my previous life, after following Jack to James's house, his attitude began to change. He thought everything I did was unreasonable, siding with outsiders to suppress me, but all I did was think of him. What I got was becoming a starving ghost. The next day, the video of Bella bullying me went viral online. It quickly spiraled out of control, and people were furious, angry at why school bullying was still so prevalent. They were also angry at Bella's remark that the poor don't deserve to be in the same school as her. She was angry that Bella used her family background to bully weaker classmates. The anger over the bullying was so immense that the school couldn't suppress it, no matter how hard they tried. The incident had too much influence, and even those who Bella had previously bullied came forward. When netizens demanded evidence, they released videos and photos of themselves being beaten and admitted to the intensive care unit. Bella hasn't been seen at school these past few days. She's probably at home trying to figure out how to suppress the scandal. In her previous life, Bella relied on her family being shareholders of the school to commit misdeeds and bully people everywhere. When something went wrong, she would just pay some money to suppress it, leaving those who wanted to defend their rights with no recourse. But this time, it won't work. I've given all the pocket money I earned from part-time writing over the past few years to those big influencers, telling them to promote it heavily for me. This time, the impact was huge, directly hitting the trending topics, and even causing the shares of the Powell family group to drop overnight. The products sold were all returned. Bah, we are poor people, not worthy of spending other people's money, heh. I'd rather buy domestic products than anything from their brand. What kind of stuff is that? Even a trash can sells for over 100 yuan. Those partners were tagged by netizens, who all said that if they cooperated, they wouldn't buy their products either. They all fell silent, not daring to make another move. Once, I was studying until midnight. Not long after I turned off the lights and went to sleep, I heard crying sounds from outside. I got up, opened a small slit in the curtains, and saw Bella running to find Jack, directly throwing herself into the man's arms. "Woo-woo, brother Jack, what should I do? It's all your sister's fault. You must help me teach her a lesson. Woo-woo, my mom is sending me abroad to hide for a while. What should I do? I don't want to leave you." The delicate, bone-chilling voice was very distinct in the silent night, even though it was very soft, but I could still hear it clearly. The moonlight shone on Jack's jade-like face. I saw that he looked a little impatient, and his eyes occasionally glanced upstairs. This was where his adoptive parents' room was. He must have been afraid of being discovered. He gently pushed away Bella, who was about to kiss him, and softly comforted her. "Bella, don't come looking for me for a while." Bella was furious and shrieked, "Are you like them, disgusted with me, just because my family is having problems now? You treat me like this? No, listen to me first." Jack went up and covered Bella's mouth, but Bella was accustomed to being arrogant and overbearing, so she didn't care about anything else and immediately started spewing many nasty words on the spot. Jack was so angry that he slapped her directly, and Bella's eyes were filled with disbelief. Her mouth agape, tears like pearls streamed from her eyes, and she covered her face and left. I saw Bella frantically posting a bunch of updates on the platform, thinking Jack would be like he was before, buying her lots of things to coax her to apologize. It's just that her plan might have fallen through this time. Jack spent more and more time reading at school and completely ignored her. His temper also became increasingly irritable. When I was doing practice questions in my room, I could hear things being smashed next door. Perhaps he slowly realized that his mind was becoming duller, or that he had lost the ability to skim. He couldn't even answer when the teacher called his name in class. The students around him started looking at him strangely, some directly saying, "Oh, he used to be first, looked really impressive, but maybe he cheated on all those previous exams. Yeah, he never seemed to study much before, but he'd easily get First place in exams, remembering everything instantly. Suddenly, Jack snapped and immediately got into a fight with the boys who were talking about him. If you keep talking nonsense, I didn't cheat. His crazy appearance scared away a group of classmates, and the male student who had caused trouble earlier got up from the ground, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. He sneered, "Heh, I heard that starting this month's monthly exam, surveillance cameras will be installed in all exam rooms to prevent students from cheating. Let's see if you can really improve your grades." Jack retorted, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of surveillance either. I'll still be number one." The male student smirked even more, saying, "All right then, let's make a bet. If you don't get first place in the monthly exam, oh no, if you don't make it into the top 10, you'll have to run naked around the playground, shouting 'I'm an idiot' the whole time." The students, eager for drama, started to egg them on. Jack, with a grim expression, gritted his teeth and agreed, "Fine, if I make it into the top 10, then you'll be the one running naked, shouting that you're a dog." The male student left with a retort, "I'm not afraid of you." He then whistled and left the classroom. However, a week before the monthly exam, Bella was in a car accident and admitted to the ICU, with no signs of waking up yet. I was somewhat surprised when I heard the news. In my previous life, I saw Bella being dragged into an alley by several tall, burly, yellow-haired hoodlums. Bella struggled incessantly, but how could a girl's strength ever match that of men, let alone several adult men? "Bella, you promised me that if I helped you deal with those annoying ants, you'd be my girlfriend. It's been so long. Why haven't you agreed yet?" I hid in the distance, hearing the leading man grab Bella's shoulders, but Bella slapped him. With a look of disgust, she said, "Who do you think you are? Be your girlfriend? Are you worthy?" The blonde man's face immediately darkened, and he said fiercely, "Oh, then I'll see if I'm still worthy of you after today." The men standing behind him all let out lewd laughter, and Bella's face turned pale. She covered her chest defensively and said, "What do you want?" The next second, no matter how Bella resisted, it was to no avail. Screams were mixed with the sound of tearing clothes. I called the police at the time, and I was anxiously looking outside, but I didn't hear the siren for a long time. Finally, I mustered up the courage to stand up and shout, "The police are here." The people inside stopped what they were doing, and after a long silence without hearing sirens, they knew I had lied to them. Several of them came over with angry faces, and I took off running. There was a school nearby, and at that time, there were still some students and teachers, so I had no choice but to ask them for help. Bella was eventually rescued, but her clothes were torn, and her skin had several red marks and scratches. She was pointed at by the whole school, and having lost face, she blamed all her misfortunes on me. Why did I ask for help from teachers and classmates at that time, and why was she seen being carried out of the alley with her clothes disheveled and barely covering her body? She ran to Jack, pointing out my mistakes, but was met with Jack's disdain. He saw the spots on Bella's body, and his eyes filled with disgust, which Bella noticed. She angrily turned and ran away. Unexpectedly, he was hit by a car that came around the corner and died instantly. Jack, however, blamed everything on me, twisting the truth and making me the culprit. In his previous life, Jack was the pride of the school, excelling academically and winning numerous awards in competitions representing the school, so everyone believed what he said, and even if someone present tried to speak up for me, they mysteriously disappeared later. Before, I couldn't understand why things unfolded this way, but now I do. Jack would do anything for his future. The first time I felt nauseous, I threw up in the bathroom for half an hour. Later, I found out that Bella was preparing to go abroad, but she still couldn't let go of Jack, so she came to ask him if he would wait for her to come back. She also saw a hint of disdain flash in Jack's eyes. Heartbroken, she covered her face and ran away, only to be hit by a suddenly appearing vehicle. This life, because Bella was kept at home by her mother, she had already missed the time when she would have been harassed by those punks, but she still couldn't escape the fate of being hit by a car. It's just that she didn't die immediately this time. After getting my mindset in order, I re-entered study mode. I had to forge my own path through learning. On the day the results of the second monthly exam came out, Jack was cornered at the classroom door. The male student who provoked Jack was named Lee. He was the school's top student and had disliked Jack for a long time. He led a group of people and mocked Jack, saying, "Hey, where are you rushing off to, buddy? A bet's a bet. You're going to the playground to strip naked and call yourself an idiot, right?" Instantly, everyone started to cheer and gossip. As soon as the results came out, I saw that Jack's ranking had dropped directly to 50th place. not even touching the tail end of the top 10. He was flushed, his hands clenched tightly, his eyes fixed on Lee, his back teeth grinding, but he couldn't utter a word. He had made a bet in front of everyone. Seeing that Jack wasn't speaking, Lee said disdainfully, "Why are you staring at me? You're the one who's incompetent. It seems you really did cheat. As soon as the cameras were installed, your grades dropped. I think you're not even as good as that little girl in the corner. At least she works hard and her progress is traceable." Being called out while just sitting there, I froze for a second. Lee looked at me with an unreadable expression. The next second, he was bumped on the shoulder by Jack as he walked out. Lee chuckled, "Oh, everyone, come quickly, let's watch our former golden boy shout that I'm an idiot." However, Jack didn't go to the playground or fulfill his promise. Instead, he ran off to drink. Jack's father had long been utterly disappointed in Jack. Aside from giving him pocket money each month, he wouldn't show him any kindness at other times. As for Jack's mother, she was powerless to help. Jack came running to me, seeking warmth, and with red eyes, said, "Nora, I only have you." Looking at his disgusting appearance, I slapped him again and softly said, "Get out." I saw a hurt expression on his face, found it an eyesore, and slammed the door shut. After continuous hard study, I got into a good medical school. I want to be a doctor. Because of his early arrogance and the boost from my good fortune, Jack didn't study seriously. No matter how hard he crammed in the second half of the semester, he only managed to get into a second-tier university. Jack's father felt ashamed and wanted him to go abroad to get some gold plating before returning. After the college entrance exam, I declined the offer of support from Jack's family and went to another city alone to work and study. I earned my own tuition. The day I packed my bags and left, Jack's mother cried her eyes out. She didn't want me to go. "It's not like we can't afford to support you. We can still fund your college education even if you go to another city." Jack's father, unable to bear it, stood by and tried to persuade me, but I refused. All of them. They knew it was because my relationship with Jack had completely broken down. Jack had held his father's large hand. He pointed at me and said, "Can she come with us?" As my sister, I promised to take care of her. Later, he didn't take care of me. Instead, he constantly badmouthed me in front of Jack's parents, blaming me for his own mistakes. People are emotional, they can sense these things. Jack's father, seeing that my mind was made up, sighed and let me go. As I got into the taxi, I knew Jack was standing on the balcony upstairs, watching me, and I couldn't even be bothered to lift my gaze. Throughout my 4 years of university, I was busy working part-time, writing articles for money, studying, and doing experiments, eventually achieving excellent grades. The school awarded me a scholarship, so I no longer needed to work part-time and could fully dedicate myself to the field of medicine. 10 years after graduating, I am now a leading surgeon. I returned to the place where I studied, and Jack's mother occasionally invites me over for dinner, but I always decline, citing my busy schedule. But every year, I would send gifts for the holidays. That day, as I was leaving the operating room, a colleague told me there was good news waiting for me in the office. Having been in surgery for 8 hours straight, I could barely keep my eyes open. No good news can change my desire to just lie down and sleep right now. Do you remember Chan, the patient who was discharged 2 years ago? He had a disability in both legs, but he can stand up now thanks to your surgery. He's here today to present you with a banner of appreciation. Instantly, I perked up and quickly walked towards the office. From behind me, I heard a colleague's voice. "Oh, you said you had no energy, but as soon as you see a patient bringing a banner, you're full of energy." Inside the office, the thin Chan stood upright next to my desk, holding a red banner. Seeing me, he happily said, "Dr. Nora, thank you. If it weren't for your superb skills and persistence, I might have been in a wheelchair for the rest of my life." I helped up the woman who was almost on her knees beside me. She was Chan's wife. I smiled and said, "I should be thanking you. These are all things I should do as a medical professional. Thank you for giving me a bowl of gruel from the crowd in your previous life, even though you were physically disabled, and even though Jack retaliated by smashing your 10 fingers, that's why I became a doctor, to treat his disability and help him stand up again." Later, Bella, who had been paralyzed and living upstairs, died. That day, I saw a familiar face. Jack stood there with his head down, feeling inferior, wanting to catch one last glimpse of Bella, but Bella's mother saw him, called her bodyguards to drive him away. He protected his head, and the moment he caught sight of me, he immediately fled in a panic. Looking at the person in front of me, my heart was completely calm. After Jack returned from abroad, his reputation wasn't very good. Jack's father was furious about him chasing women and hanging out in women's circles overseas. He directly cancelled all his cards, leaving him to fend for himself, and even kicked him out of the James family home. I heard that no one dares to hire him now, fearing they'll become the laughingstock of the city. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.